Welcome to welcome to a meeting of the Architectural Review Board. Today is October 17th, 2023. The members we have present here tonight are Rebecca Morrison, Alexander Lopatensky, Cheryl Green, myself, Elizabeth Geiger, and Sean Brown. First up on our agenda tonight, we're going to cover old business. We have ARB number 35, 2023. This is Citibank, who's proposing facade updates and signage to the building. Citibank, you guys ready?
I'll bring the materials as we get to that part of the
Okay,
presentation.
great. So you kind of know the drill. Introduce yourself for the record.
Good evening. My name is Robin Kiernan. I'm an architect with Shazer Design. I'm representing Federal Realty for the proposed exterior modifications for 40 Heights Road, which is also the building 4C.
Do you have them on different files, the facade modification?
It's on there.
Did Patrick upload it? You want my USB?
Yeah.
Sorry, let me grab that, sorry.
I have it on there. It is, that's what, proposed number,
No, that's
We
October.
made a minor tweak today
oh,
that is supplemental information that we wanted to present.
You just
I
happen to know
thought they
that
were.
because
I thought they were in there.
all right, that's frustrating. All right. Well, Robin, we've got a full agenda tonight, so we can't waste time on technology. That should have been up there, so we gotta start talking.
So this, the minor updates tonight represent everything that we submitted in response to the hearing from 1 month ago for your comments. We did add some window alternate options we wanted to present to you. If you've seen the package we submitted on the cover, we did identify responses to
Yep.
the comments. We've added some adjacent site context to get better understand the surrounding vernacular. What I'm going to present is our preferred scheme for color window styles, but we have included alternates for your review and feedback for both the metal color, the accent color, as well as the window style, to hopefully get final, recommendations this evening.
Great.
So what we're proposing, originally we had the dark where we had the black roof, black sign band with the black windows, and the feedback was it was a little too heavy, too stark, a little too industrial. So we've explored a couple different color schemes. This is our preferred, which is a varnished slate, which is not quite the same color as Gregory's, but it's a little more complementary to the coffee shop across the way. In ways to lighten the kind of the feel of it, we've reduced the profile of the frieze board below the roof in both height and projection to have a more minimal appearance. And we've taken the sign band that currently kind of runs continuous along this front facade as well as the parking lot facade. We've broken it into segments just to be at the areas where the tenant signage is, on the kind of the recessed portion of the building. And we're not proposing any band at the area that projects out, which you can see in the lower image. The image on the bottom just shows it without the trees for better understanding of the facade. The renderings do reflect the proposed landscaping from the landscape architect. We did include a landscape plan later in the presentation, but again, heavily pruning of the trees to then have more visibility of the facade. Most of the ground cover will remain, but we are proposing new hydrangeas, the white there that will run along the entire length of the building to create a little more variation of the greenery. And then when we get to and this is just a view at dusk, and we've talked about the monument sign, and we have some more information when we get to that slide. Some of the feedback was closer renderings of the entry, so this is showing that reduction of sign band of both the projection and the main facade there. We are proposing to replace the handrail based off of the feedback from the last hearing. So instead of kind of a broken pipe rail, broken as in two separate pieces now, we're proposing to replace it with one continuous handrail matching both style and color at the stairway across for Darien Commons that leads up the stairs to Gregory's. Again, a little more continuity between the two sites. From the parking lot side, we have a perspective from this view as well as the other side. The feedback last time was on the end walls on both the east and west elevations, they were just very flat, where it was just the brick with the upper windows. So as a way to enhance that facade as well as the entry into Darien Commons, we're proposing to add black metal screens. And on this face here on the west facade, adding Virginia creeper, which is a type of ivy, up the vines to again add some contrast to the brick color. There currently are 3 light poles along this building elevation, which is really unnecessary. So we're proposing to remove the middle light pole to then have better visibility of the screens, and then adding some ground lighting just to illuminate those, which are the same ground lighting that is over at Darien Commons that you guys have previously seen.
Is Virginia creeper an evergreen vine? I don't think it is. A lot of times we recommend English ivy.
It's a type of ivy. It's not necessarily an English ivy.
I'm going to circle back with you that, but we might recommend doing English ivy, which would match what we propose to do over in front of St. Luke's.
Okay, I think we did explore a couple different treatments there with the landscape architect. The concern, I think, with the English ivy is it tends to grow out of control, and we don't want it just going up the side of the building and creating a maintenance issue. So this might grow a little slower, but it's easier to maintain. But we're open to suggestions. So that's what we're proposing to activate that end cap elevation there. The feedback from the first presentation was that the entry did not have enough of a marquee look. So we're proposing to increase the length of the canopy from 16 feet to 30 feet, basically running the full length of that infill addition, as well as removing the metal band behind there. This will create more contrast with the canopy to the brick. And although the roof and the color of the downspouts and the sign band are kind of a medium gray, and I can share the samples with you momentarily, we are still proposing black storefronts and a black canopy. So this, although the brick is existing, this is basically a color match to show the metal color. And then this is showing the contrast there for what will be the canopy and the storefront material. So we do have a couple iterations of window styles to show you, but our preferred is still the muttons upstairs and downstairs to create a cohesive look, and we will explore some options momentarily. This is the same scheme from the opposite side, looking at the east facade. So similar treatment of enhancing that facade, where we'd only have the metal screens, and same area where there's some areas where the brick depresses into the building a few inches. So that's where the screens would go, same width and alignment as the windows above, as there's no windows in this area on the first floor. We are not proposing landscaping at this particular elevation because we do have the existing brick walk there, and we were concerned that trying to add any kind of landscaping would be challenging. I'm sorry, real quick. For the ATM structure, we are proposing to paint the existing the post and beam structure a black color to then better tie in with the adjacent building, as well as painting the black bollards. The brick would remain to match the building. We did explore painting the roof, but we're concerned that any painting there would avoid the warranty of the roof and just be an ongoing issue that would have to be, the paint would deflect off eventually. So if you go to one more slide.
You're painting those pillars, or you're replacing
no, we're just going to be painting the post and beam structure all the way around. I know this elevation doesn't necessarily show it, but it does kind of have that more ornate sight line of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd be painting all of that.
So it would match the lighter of the two, the black or the
We're proposing
black.
the black, but if the preference is the lighter, we could color match the lighter.
I don't know, I have no preference. What do you guys think? You think the lighter?
Yeah, I think the lighter one.
So this is the old. I'm
Is
sorry.
the background of Edward Jones, is that the lighter color, or is that pink?
This is the burnished slate that you guys have the sample of now.
Yes,
This is
okay.
our preferred color. We did look at an alternate lighter color, which is granite. We feel that this is not that much of a departure from what the current is now with the wood, and it doesn't really have enough contrast to give the building the pop that we are looking for. We wanted to show it, we did explore some colors, but we think the burnished slate is the strongest design.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Can you go back to the front of the building?
This one, corner view.
I just want to know if it's burnished or burnished. Yeah.
Wait.
That one?
Is that the color?
That's a little different.
It
That
looks a
color
little
is-
darker in the rendering, that's why the
rendering
physical
looks
samples
dark,
really
darker.
Right.
better represent.
Well, this one looks lighter here than
Where-
when you look at that.
And I think it's just the rendering
I know.
software, it's the same.
Impossible in Photoshop,
You can, yeah,
practically.
it's like, but
Alex, you see a contrast in the two colors though, right?
and this,
Yeah, oh yeah, that's big contrast.
right?
Yeah.
Huge, but, and I think this looks better with the black,
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Mhm.
that's the proportion, right?
Yeah.
So that looks nice, and that looks great with the brick.
And you think the lighter of the two, the burnished slate for the ATM area?
Yeah, I would say match it to this,
Okay.
because the standing seam on that is
Silver.
Lighter.
silver.
Yeah.
And I think if it was black, it'd be more of a contrast, this would be a little bit softer if you did this rather than the black, right?
And we will have to color match because we are going to, we're gonna paint all the downspouts and it'll be new gutters with the new standing seam metal roof. So we will have to do a color match,
Okay.
so that's easy to come up with.
Okay.
Wait, color match to the.
For the
sign.
burnished slate,
Okay,
yeah, for this, we'll paint this.
Okay.
so don't leave that side yet, side view. So is there an opinion from us as to one or two of those screen sides on this one? I like two on the other. I think this is too much on this side.
I like that it mirrors the windows though. that it-
That was the
This is true.
rationale, and it's hard to pick up here. There is a little bit of a recess that happens
Yeah, you
in
can see
here
it.
on both facades. So the thought was the screens would sit inbound of that, and then we did want them to align, we thought it was better with the windows. So it's the same width, the 5'8" of the existing masonry opening, to kind of create almost like a fenestration down below. So it would be 2 on this side and 3 on the west facade.
I'm okay, I just thought I'd bring up, the other question I had was, is all the glass on the first floor being replaced?
Yes, so that is
Are
part.
they having built-in buttons?
That's the intent. So, we actually go down one slide. We are proposing to replace, I'm sorry, one additional one. Proposing to replace all of the storefront on the first floor. Right now it is just anodized aluminum, wide panels, no
Right,
intermediate
single.
mullions. So, when we did explore, based off feedback from the last meeting, alternate window styles, adding a horizontal mullion to kind of create that faux transom look, we didn't think that was successful enough. It didn't have enough continuity with the first floor or any of the adjacent buildings. Right, you can go down one more. We did explore adding both a vertical and a horizontal mullion, which in isolation, we actually really like the window, but we think it creates discontinuity with the first floor, which is part of the rationale for why we want to replace all the storefront, is right now it's just storefront with very residential style windows above, so trying to, as part of the renovation, have better continuity with the upper and lower levels.
So you like the other one better?
Our preferred option is just the muttons, the basic muttons.
I agree. Can you do me a favor and go back to the slide shot with the western side? Keep going,
Up
keep
about
going.
3 slides.
One more. Keep going.
This-
That one right there.
Yeah.
That's the mirrors as well. 3 above. That looks-
I think this window setup's much better than the other one.
Yeah, we think it has a little more continuity and it's a little more subtle. A little more of industrial feel, but not too much because they are smaller windows.
I like this better than the strong vertical.
Was there any ever a thought to putting some sort of a canopy that was similar to the back on the front?
No, not really, because although there are doors there, they are not activated by Citibank. They're actually locked. The primary entry, or really only entry other than emergency egress to Citibank, is along the parking facade.
So the stairs that go up to
Really nothing. They're existing, we understand the request to replace the handrail, but it's not a heavily used access point. We did want to maintain the brick walk here, again, not heavily used, but other than, we'd have to
So the
walk.
stairs lead to nothing, there's no entrance in the front?
No,
It's a stairway to heaven.
Then why is it there?
One of the,
Pedestrian
You're gonna have to go back a
element-
long time to figure it out.
one of the elements that I did like about this facade is that it recalls the 2/2
Yeah,
of the development.
I actually like that
So
window
it kind of
style.
ties it in with
Yeah.
this and makes it a little bit more residential looking, which is, commercial versus
Yeah.
residential above. And this is highly commercial and whatever it is above, it's just kind of
it does, we do, I
has a
mean,
little bit of a extra.
it does add a little flair, and we do like that. Our concern is that the continuity between the first and the second floor. The other, from the outside looking in, it's quite nice, but from the inside looking out, that horizontal mullion is right around 5 feet.
Yeah.
So it really, it obstructs the sight line out. So that was why we moved away from this
There
option.
was a really good picture of the glass in,
Those bars.
This is, yeah, like 5 feet, this is the height of the mullion where it would be
Yeah.
like here, right?
Right, exactly, right out here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
see, this is,
So, and those are gonna be offices.
The second floor is gonna be a commercial use, the exact tenant is to be confirmed, but yes, it'll be
So in
commercial space.
theory, people aren't really standing, they're
They're sitting.
sitting. Like we are. I just like the breakdown of the proportion of the opening. I think what bothers me a little bit is that because the mullions are thicker
Mhm.
and it's black, there's much more of a contrast to the banding, which is a, softer color. And your preferred version, because the muntins are so skinny, you don't really see
There's
them.
not as dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer these windows as well.
Could we get them in this color?
That would be a custom order, that's
I
gonna
knew
be.
you'd say that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to say yes, but that's like doubling the cost of the windows. So we do have another perspective at the entry with this one again, highlighting what the entry there is with the smaller muttons of the entry.
You don't have the other two versions of this.
No, we just gave you that
Straight
one
on,
view.
that looks great.
I like the ones, I like the.
Straight on, that looks great. I think in context to the rest of the development is, yeah. Because of the,
I prefer the other ones, but I think that looks very
well,
industrial.
it is.
Yeah,
And we were-
it's very factory-like.
I mean, there's something kind of interesting about that. Yeah. I don't know. If you could do the other windows in a lighter color, I think that would be like a home run, but I think it's gonna be very heavy black.
But hang on a sec, what's not coming up here though, in any of these photos, is that the muttons are in the retail glass.
They are.
They are,
They
that's what I'm
are.
saying,
It
they're
is
not
hard to
seen
see because of the shadow from the arcade, but they are there, yes.
Yeah, so Herb, go all the way up to the I don't know, second or third or fourth photo from the beginning. Yeah, and it's like,
Which one do you want?
on the
If you-
front facade, on
Yeah, if
the
you look
south
at the
facade.
zoomed in entry at the Citibank at the stairs to heaven, that's what we'll call them, you do get a good,
There it is, right
yeah,
there.
so you see
So
them
you can see the muttons in the glass
here.
here.
Yeah,
That's why I happen to like the second floor,
Because
They're
it
aligned.
matches that.
because they're aligned.
See them here again.
But they
All
wouldn't
right.
be aligned if you used the heavier,
no, because this is gonna be storefront down below, so it's not,
Okay.
like, the windows upstairs are a standard proportion of 6'2" by 5'8" for all of the windows, as we're going to be dropping the sill. So those would be a standard size, you're not going to get that same kind of placement of the mullions on the lower level because the storefront lengths vary.
then
Is the glass tinted?
I mean, it'll just have like the regular like solar band. I mean, I think they're coming in a little darker because we don't have the interior model, but the intent is not to be like a dark tinted glass.
Hydrangeas aren't, are they ever replaced then? Because they're not perennial, annual,
Yeah, I don't know.
they're not evergreens, I didn't think they were allowed.
They're allowed, I don't think we suggested that before, but, we gotta talk about high maintenance. In the winter, the trimming of those, if you did it properly.
Yeah.
Are these
just
applied
like it stops.
muntins or
Yes.
lawns?
We could do it, the storefront vendor, the window vendor we're looking at can do either an
Simulated.
implied, or it can be integral to the glass, which obviously is
Simulated
layer,
dialect.
easier to maintain, or they can be like an exterior, kind of a true mutton, if you have a preference, but
Oh, they're not in the center between the two pieces of glass?
you can do it that way, and it's obviously much easier to clean the glass, which would be our
Yeah.
preference. If you were to require, we could do like the actual applied on the exterior face.
Yeah, when they're expressed outside.
Can you, Harvick, can you
Difficult.
go out a little tiny bit?
Hmm?
Can you go out a little tiny bit?
Oh, sure.
So can we make a decision on the
Keep on
windows?
going,
I think I'm.
So can we agree with internal muntins?
out.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
That-
great.
If it's a commercial
permanent.
building, I think it'll be.
That's permanent.
Can I just ask, maybe I'm over speaking, but, so the stairway to heaven, whatever, right? Like, so the Citibank, to me, the whole thing is confusing, because you can't get in there, but yet you have the sign there. Like, is there a way to put the sign, like, on the left, so like they're on either side of it? Like, so it's the same as Edward, whatever the other.
Edward Jones, yeah,
Because right now, I mean, to me, I understand why you're keeping the stair, because obviously if that tenant moves out, like you want the stair to be in place.
but it does imply an entrance.
It implies an entrance, and so the whole thing is confusing, especially when there's a Citibank. And I feel like as this development grows, there's gonna be more and more people walking. So then it becomes really confusing.
So we could, I mean, this was, we're matching the existing signage locations. I believe this was approved under a separate signage permit to replace to the halo lit. We could explore doing, I mean, I would probably still want to do a sign band here to create
Right.
some balance. We
Right,
did want to explore moving Citibank here. We do have on the west elevation, there is a Citibank just around the corner. I believe it's in the rendering.
it just feels like that should be
Like
somewhere
the main-
else besides
Yeah, you would go
the main
there.
entrance that you can't even get into, to me.
It's the one.
There,
with
oh,
the-
right here.
there it
So
is
you
all
do
the-
see, we do have the Citibank there, and that's, that currently matches their
So we
signage.
go, Herbe, go to the one that rendering, the front rendering that had no trees.
Oh,
Let's look at the
first slides up, I believe. Or maybe three. Keep going up. Right there.
No trees.
So that, like, could you pop that city, because Citibank runs where it juts out,
Citibank
right?
essentially runs this entire portion, it's about almost 3/4 the floor plate, and then with Edward Jones, a much smaller tenant space.
So, I mean, could you put the same signage band on the,
Right
there?
here?
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's something we would have to get Citibank's approval to move it, but I think it's something that we could, and then in that case, I would wanna add a sign band there.
Right,
Yeah.
And
How's
leave,
it?
and leave the center one.
Yeah,
We
I'll
still
leave
leave the
the
center
center, but
one
just
just
no
to have
sign.
that little
right,
bit
leave
of
the center,
symmetry.
leave
Yeah.
the center on, but no sign, but at least then it's a little less confusing.
Okay, I mean, that's definitely something federal can discuss with Citibank to get their approval on.
okay.
So
I think it's a great suggestion.
So something so that like it doesn't seem like you can actually get in that entrance.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we can definitely explore that.
Either that or take out the stairs
I think it's a good idea.
and put a new window there, right?
And I would have to check there, I mean, that might act as emergency egress, where you can't open it from the exterior, but if they do, they might need a second means of egress, I don't know their interior layout
But that's
that
fine.
well.
Most likely.
Yeah.
That's
So I
fine.
think we still need to maintain the door, but
Yeah.
like, no one's
Oh,
entering.
yeah, no, I would leave all the same.
Just
There
move the
may
sign,
be-
is
There
all.
may even be a sign on those doors that says go around the
Yeah.
corner to the back.
Right,
because
exactly.
Otherwise,
Exactly.
That's a good call.
people are gonna go,
Not an entrance.
right.
I'd be tempted to spread it, right?
Yeah,
Right, exactly.
okay, that's a good idea, that's great feedback.
Okay, we're almost done.
No, yeah,
Okay, if you slide down a few more, I think we're basically through the renderings with the preferred color scheme. Have we made a determination on the windows?
Yeah, I'm backing out.
Yeah,
Okay,
Whoa,
so,
whoa, whoa, back up, say that
she's
again?
it's great,
so we'll proceed with the
What's on the drawing?
muttons as shown here in this rendering.
Internal.
okay.
Yep, with internal, and that is be much happier from an operations
12, is
standpoint.
it 12 divided light? Is that-
Yes, I do have an elevation,
Okay.
if we keep moving down, we did include some, okay, so that's the sample.
I go too fast, I wanna read
Okay,
it.
good. I think that's, this is the final rendering, these are just the elevations to show you flat what they look like, so we can.
So you'd be adding a band here.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah.
yeah, that
That's
makes
not
sense.
bad, I will help
Yeah, that
break this
would-
down.
And this, I believe this does have a band now, but in a way to soften it, we were just taking it off, and we can, I think the original, or the last design had that.
Yeah.
So here's your front.
Wait,
your
Harvey,
parking.
go back up one.
It's
You're doing a good job here, Hay.
Sorry.
It's a lot.
this one.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, stop. Like, should there be one to the right as well? Like, if that's the only one that doesn't have a band?
There's a little
Or should it-
asymmetry
No, I
in
have one
this.
on the right.
No, you're saying
No.
continued band.
We could do a continuous one, right now, the
There's
kind
not
of
one
design is it's inbound
between
of
Edward
the
and
pier.
Morris.
Oh.
We could do one
No,
long
I
one.
think you, actually, I would just do it in the, yes, and give it a relief
Yes, I would
to
agree
the
with
right, because you have a relief between
Yes,
the
and that's,
Civic and the.
that's basically the
Yeah,
style for, that's how it is
yeah, yeah,
now, where it
yeah.
doesn't extend all the way to the
Yeah.
corner.
Plus you
As
got
long
an
as there's
asymmetrical
some-
window down there anyway, so
Yeah.
you may take advantage of it.
That works, and then from the elevation perspective, it's
Now,
balanced.
Yes.
to clarify, because I'm not sure this was completely clear, that Citibank backlit sign would then move to this band? Is
Yes,
that what
Correct.
it
that's,
is?
that,
Okay, so
yes,
that's gotta be crystal clear for
yes.
me as well, and that disappears from me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep the
But
band,
the sign
move
band
the sign.
stays.
The band
The band
stays.
stays.
And both signs are backlit?
Yeah, those are gonna be, those were, I think, were approved under a previous application, where they're gonna be replacing with a halo lit
Oh,
for
okay.
all three of the Citibank signs, same size, but with the halo light, and then we're proposing to replace the Edward Jones, same size, same style, just with the same halo lit as part of this renovation.
We need to check in that, I'm not gonna say those are approved, because when we did discuss that, then it came an entire change of the building, so we're gonna need to see that signage.
Yeah, I think
again.
we'll handle all the signage
Because there
separately.
was a different
Okay.
scheme and color too,
Yeah,
as
it's,
well.
it's
There's a lot
not,
of color
yeah,
and red
I don't think
and-
there's an approval on that, so that needs to let
We'll circle back on that.
federal know, yeah.
Okay.
What you're proposing sounds great, but
Okay,
Still
we
needs to
will,
check.
we will get that across
Okay.
separately. So just past the elevation, so this was showing the windows with the three different styles, but we're gonna stick with the left one. And then that does show what the storefront down below looks like, just so you see that continuity.
Where's
for-
the louver?
That is the canopy at the entrance. It is, you don't see that in the perspective, but it is a
Right, right.
louvered canopy.
It's a-
It's not really to provide protection, but rather just a wayfinding mechanism for the entry. For the door pull, we're just proposing a 3-foot stainless steel with a little bit of ornamentation, but more kind of industrial style for all of the doors. This was showing the two different options for the metal and the roof, but we've decided we're gonna stick with the preferred option of the burnished slate.
Where are these guys?
Those are at the, they're added to the piers, so
Ah.
the longer ones were flanking the new entry doors, and then the smaller ones were the
Yeah, I
adjacent
remember that
piers.
presentation.
Hang on one sec, is the triangle light?
That, there is on the
Western
west,
side?
yep,
up
there's
Above the
two,
second floor?
yes, we're gonna just replace those with a little more modern, cleaner ones. Same place though. Which is part of the reason we're
Big
able.
dryer vents.
Yeah, the nicest looking wall pack we on the market. And that is why we're gonna be removing that center light pole. I don't think it was ever necessary, particularly with the wall packs up above.
Is there a choice between the two, or these are both?
They are the
active?
same family, we're just doing the longer ones that are 36 inches in length at the entry to again create more prominence there, and then at the piers, same fixture, same width, with a 15-inch height. So this was the plan, just this is identifying where all of the lights are, primarily here, and then at the location of the new screens, where we will have the uplight in the landscaping to illuminate the metal screens.
where, indicate where that wall lighting is, those,
Oh, they were up top on.
Oh, the wall
There's
packs,
only a
I'm
second
sorry,
and
they
third
are
floor.
here. They are shown,
there's two on each side?
there's
No.
two about right here, way up.
Okay, why are those there? I'm not a fan of those at all.
Those are existing,
Yeah,
We could explore the photometrics to see if they're necessary.
I don't think they are necessary, I'm gonna propose they be removed.
Okay.
I don't think, there's a lot of lighting in that whole area, and you've got lighting on the ATM there, you've got upward light now, I think they're,
And they're only on this facade, they're not on the other one, so we could confirm that they're not required for photometrics, then get them out of there.
okay. Okay, thanks, Robin.
Okay.
Hey, while we're on that facade, go back there, can you tell me why you architecturally thought about how you broke up, it's not, any of those are very good. How, are you having fun with me? How you broke up the, the sign band, you deliberately didn't continue it.
Yes.
And
So-
why is it? What was the thought process?
Well, this is the way it currently is now, where it goes from the inset of the pier, so we've maintained that.
Okay,
We did have it, and originally, I think right now it's been taken off because they took the canopy off. But there was a sign band here in the last presentation, we did have it, but there wasn't enough contrast from the canopy, you couldn't really pick up on.
the canopy looks great, I'm talking about the east and western walls on the edge, that little band, it looks almost, I'm not sure if I like it or not, I'm like, is there a brick course there that I'm seeing that stops it, that naturally stops it over the window set?
No, that's just there's a little bit of a recess right here where we have the screens, but this is all coplanar. I think the original kind of style of design intent, which is what we were trying to follow, was it's only at the areas above where there's storefront above.
Okay.
Or sorry, storefront below.
Okay,
So that kind of creates that language band
okay.
with the storefront below. But we did break it to make it feel not so heavy.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I
don't
don't think
mind
I
it.
do.
This giant eyebrow.
Well, I think it's better than having nothing there, I just didn't know
Yeah.
where the start and stop, why, there was a rhythm to that, which makes, that's a good answer.
And that is the kind of the rationale of why we thought the screens worked, although they're different from the windows, it creates that alignment and kind of visual interest, but it's not the same as the windows.
Okay, okay, thank you for answering those.
Okay, I think we just have the, if you scroll up 3 slides, we're very near the end. So this is the landscape plan, we did put some color on it to help create that. So this is the median that we'll be reworking here as we're moving the condenser up to the roof well. There will be a new maple here. These are again some of the hydrangeas that are running along Heights Road. A lot of the ground cover will be existing to remain. We can, we can discuss further if the Virginia creeper is not the right ivy to go up the vines. That was the recommendation of the landscape architect. And then again, better screening of the condensers that will remain that serve the northeast corner.
Thank you. You know, let us look into this, but let me, to our board landscape architect, let me forward this and double check what we recommend for some of our plantings there, to make sure we're on the same page. I appreciate you doing this, it looks good. Maybe some small modifications.
Okay. And then just the 2 final pages are for this was the monument sign that we're replacing in the same position. Again, no illumination other than a small uplight here that'll just be a band. The request was showing the depth of that, so it does have a 13-inch base where it gets a little narrower at the top. And originally we were showing 40 heights here, but we felt it was too low and would get lost. So we're proposing to do it on the returns to have better visibility from vehicular and pedestrian as you're approaching in both directions.
Okay.
And there would just be white acrylic, no illumination on the lettering.
I think this is just a more informal review of this. We'll see this under a signage application, but it's good to see it now in case there's any glaring, anything stand out, pretty much in favor of what we're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
And
should be
then
good.
the last slide is the sign over the canopy. So we've removed the illumination, so it'll just be a white acrylic at the face, and then the returns will be that portend metal to kind of have a little bit of that industrial feel. As I mentioned previously, we've expanded the length of the canopy from 16 feet to 30 feet, so the sign we feel is a better proportion while giving a little more prominence to the entry.
So what's the depth of the letter?
The depth of the letter is 4 inches, is the return.
What's the depth at 515 Post Oak?
I'm sorry, the depth
The
of...
depth in in your example of the,
Oh, that's probably about 12 inches, that's pretty deep. And I think I'd have to check the signage guidelines, I don't think you can have,
It looks like this one overlaps, I think I'm following Sean's train of thought.
I've seen
That
515
this is
Post
all
Oak,
in
I've
front.
been there.
Huh?
I've seen that sign, that 515 Post Oak's a really classy sign.
Yeah, and it actually has a little in front of that backing, and then the depth kind of overlaps, where this doesn't look like it, this looks like it's all in front, to me.
I think
to my
the
eye.
intent is to have this,
Okay.
it's hard to represent that here, we'll have more detailed signage
I don't think
drawings on it,
I
but,
don't think 4 inches is gonna be deep
It's a
enough.
little too.
okay, you wanna go
too
deeper?
shallow.
So maybe like a, similar to here, this is probably about a 2-inch depth projection here with about a 12-inch return.
Oh,
If you're trying to get, I've been there many times, that is an impressive sign at 515 Post Oak. If you're trying to get to that, I think you gotta be a lot deeper than 4 inches or 6
But
inches.
12
and
inches
4
might feel a little chunky on a light canopy, because it's not a solid canopy.
No, I
it's
agree,
a-
but 4 inches is,
You know, I think you're going in the right direction, but maybe 8
Maybe
inches?
A little more dominance, okay.
Yeah.
So the canopy is 30 inches in depth, and then it does have that louver, but
what's the front piece?
it's gonna, the front is in this.
The first broad piece across the loop, the canopy, before you get to the first open air.
Oh, it's probably about 6 inches.
And I think that they should be at least 6 inches.
Right.
I think you gotta if my advice would be make the letter the same depth as that front piece of metal.
Okay.
We'll probably have to draw it like in 3D. or-
Yeah, I think we'll need to actually have it modeled
Just so
and
we can
then get
understand.
into more detailed shop drawings for the submission for the actual signage.
okay.
Great.
That's it.
This is great. So it is close enough to a favorable report where you don't have to come back, so that's a
Okay.
victory for you.
Yay.
You did a really good job presenting.
Thank you.
Robin. We really appreciate your very thoughtful revisions. So a couple things that we need to hash out, which I can put in a letter, and then we could work administratively with Hervé to make sure those are there, which is like discussing the landscape plan, all the signage, obviously on a new application. Support, I'll put in there that we're supportive of the slate, not the back, the
Mhm.
color, in your originally proposed window sets.
Great.
Secondary secondary wall lighting removed. I don't think we need to see new PDFs though. I think what you have here is good, unless you want to clean it up and put your final selections in one PDF for our records, that would be
Okay,
helpful.
we can do
Yeah,
that, and I
That's
will-
better for me, because then I can just refer
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah,
to
we can
draw documents.
resubmit just the final for record, and we'll
Right.
wait to see the comments for landscaping so we can include that.
That would be great.
Also the different color for the 15
Yeah, and update, thank you. Update the ATM color, thank you, Rebecca. In that drawing, update the ATM color and remove those wall art.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Robin, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Um,
Do you guys want to keep them with this? You want to go back to the samples? You can clip one right here.
Yeah. I think the name's off. This is also great.
Yeah.
All right, you guys want to prepare for the next application? Next up, we have ARB number 37, which is Bird Code. It's at 151 Boston Post Road. This will be our third meeting in person with Bird Code. Yeah. I can start here if you want, so. Hi, guys.
Hi again.
doing?
Well, great. Good to see you again. You know the drill. Introduce yourselves, your company.
I'm Jenny Morgenthau, the architect for Bird Code.
Jenny, your last name I should know it by now.
Morgenthau,
Can you spell it for me?
Morgenthau. I'll let you know.
And Phil Killoran, Bird Code.
Richard Fontaine, engineer for Bird Code.
I'm sorry, what was the second, what was your name, I'm sorry?
Oh, Phil Killoran. It's Killorn. Sorry, the hoarse voice. Too much spice.
Go ahead.
Yeah, right?
Spicy food,
Yeah.
very spicy food.
I'll get you.
So we are here, again, to respond to the proposed facade modifications from the last meeting back in September. What you
This
might
is
want to
for
actually.
record, so
This is for record, this was the,
This is what it was.
The original
as
for
it was
record, yep.
approved. This one was as it was approved,
Correct.
and now is your new coming up. beautiful.
And that
rendering.
is, this is the new
You want the other one first?
proposal, probably look
How
at
about
this one first, yep.
Okay, all right.
So, the first item was the awnings over the entry doors. We originally did not think that we could structurally actually install them, and that was the reason for us coming back. We had a secondary structural evaluation done. We knew that it was a very important element to the building, and it was also very important to the ARB. So we actually had our structural engineer take a look. We figured out a way to structurally install them exactly the way that they were originally proposed.
Oh,
So that's step,
That's great.
that's the first thing.
fantastic.
He also did another structural analysis of the larger awning that is not structurally sound. In place of that, to continue with the lighting around the building, and to add a little color to the building as well, we're gonna propose 6 red gooseneck lighting fixtures, basically right at the same height of where the original lights would go, in place of where the awning was. And we also, what was the other thing? Oh, just to add more color, but also we wanted to add a little bit more color to the freestanding awning on the other side. So we're hoping that that pops out a little tiny bit more.
I'll stand with you.
Yeah.
For a minute. We made a few adjustments to the pergola to essentially, like I said, the legs, the actual thickness of the exterior of it to match it up with the awnings. Originally, if you go back to the other proofs. Yeah.
Maybe it's this one.
You'll see how this one is, it was attached to the building.
Yeah.
We structurally were not able to do that, so we went to one that was freestanding. So we were able to kind of thin it out and make it match a little bit better. The lighting is still the same, which is the approved string lighting, and the landscaping around it we were able to maintain. The landscaping as it was originally approved. We added in the Adirondack chairs, again, to add a little bit more color. We reduced one of the picnic tables so that we could match seats for seats. At the same time, give a little more pop with that Adirondack on there. Sorry if I took a little.
Oh, no, that's
Go ahead.
exactly what I would have said. So, in conclusion, we are trying to make the, with some of the structural limitations that we had, we're trying to make this proposed rendering of what we're hoping the building will eventually look more like what we originally proposed. Really, the only difference is the one awning is replaced with the gooseneck lighting, and now the larger awning is freestanding. So those are really the only two differences at this point.
Spicy goose.
Spicy gooseneck.
I like more here on this
Yeah, I
than
like that.
here than the red gooseneck, but I think it's, I don't know, it's just fun.
It's kind of fun.
It's fun, and
It's a
it's
fun
not
building.
overwhelming, because it's just the skinny columns, and I like that the furniture is fire engine red.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
It's a family eatery, and it's just
Yeah.
Inviting.
I
inviting.
thought so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, favorable report again. It's great to see you guys. I really hope you guys are successful.
Yeah,
It's-
thank you,
It's
thank you.
exciting. You guys have worked hard and you deserve it.
Yeah.
What kind of food is on the menu?
So it's
I'll let
all
do
you
that.
give me the whole thing?
You do the whole thing.
Okay. It's Nashville hot chicken. So
Oh.
we have both grilled chicken and southern fried chicken.
Yeah.
Sandwiches, tenders. We have our code bites, which are small, essentially nuggets, so to speak. We've got a salad on the menu as well, our Greenbird, which we've been selling since day one. It's a kale-based salad as well. But focus on scratch made from the heart, as we say, and high quality ingredients, locally sourced from both the beverages, food, across the board.
The best banana pudding you will ever find.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, fully from scratch, no
Fully
box
from
made,
scratch.
no anything.
Wow.
Just like my wife's mother used to make.
Wow.
Awesome.
Sounds great.
We can't wait to try it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so
Thank you.
much. We'll get you a new letter.
Thank you so
Sorry.
much.
But you guys can continue on until the letter gets in. You do have a favorable report, so.
Awesome,
Thank you so much.
So this, for the record and the camera, there was a, for Mr. Killoran as well, There was an
Sorry.
addendum to your building permit because of the change, which is now going to be processed as a fully accepted permit since the ARB gave you favorable report.
Fantastic.
So as soon as tomorrow morning, I'll look into it and make sure that it just goes through. Because you were being held back in
Yep.
terms of the construction of the rest of the facade, so.
Yep.
And we really appreciate the effort of the structural engineer to make that
Yeah.
happen, because
Yes.
it makes a huge difference for the building.
Absolutely.
It really does. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure.
Yeah.
All right, ARB number 41, 2023, this is Bear Burger at Darien Commons, 150 Heights Road. We approved their facade application last month, and now we are discussing their signage plan. Hi, introduce yourself,
My
please.
name's David Hahn.
Hahn?
I'm the Hahn, H-A-H-N,
Bear Burger?
For signage.
for
Okay.
signage.
Bear Burger,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's why Clarice says that she will not come in. Computers are only as fast as the operator. Which one do you want, the latest?
There's actually two renderings. Let's do this.
People
Second
say,
one.
tell, they need to
I'll
call
start,
them.
I'll start with this one.
Okay. Good.
So this one's actually a backlit signage of the awning, I believe, that was approved. So I'm not too sure. Everything else, but this one's backlit. It's gonna be having a back panel above the awning, just so it kind of works with the awning with the same colors and everything. There's
So
just-
that back panel
Oh.
did not exist in the previous
Yeah,
rendering.
Correct.
that's
In
new.
previous rendering, the letters were floating,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess maybe the issue was that if you're backlighting your letters, if you don't have a back to the light, then it doesn't really work. So, that's why it's here.
Do you have a front view of, with the whole elevation?
I'll have to double check with the architect on that one.
Oh, that's okay.
Because you really don't see that raised panel in that render, because it's, I mean,
It's a little,
it's
yeah.
very cleverly disguised. But, you know, and at night you probably would not see it, but during the day you'd see this thing pop up.
Yeah.
And that does not look like what we
No,
had agreed looks great.
well, I feel like you've done all this work to make it, a great storefront,
Yeah.
and then it looks like you, at the last hour, we
It's like a second thought.
shortchanged it.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys consider a halo lit?
Well, this was, well, there should be another
That's
rendering
an
in there.
older, yeah.
Yeah, it's totally
You know-
different, because the brick behind it is a very different look.
I think this time, I'm just gonna say it for the record. People do not make my life easy when they don't name the drawings what they're supposed to be, because they all call it drawings, and it's like, until I open them up, and
You
it's
don't know
like,
what
then
it
we
is.
fumble around here, and it's just like, okay, Bear Burger, Darien, okay, what's, okay.
Go to the
So-
last one, October 10th, second from the bottom.
So that's the one I just opened.
That's the one we just opened? Okay.
The first one you saw with the sign is this one, Bear Burger. This is the Bear Burger, Darien, Connecticut. So I'm trying to find
All
where.
right, let's just go, we can go back to that, Hervé, and just give the simple feedback that we're not supporting it.
Yeah, not what we saw.
Got it, okay. I mean, I'll have to double back with the architect and discuss further.
Yeah. Yeah, it can't be face lit, but we've seen some creative ways people have done. Even in that area, in the Darien Commons area, people have done some creative things in a way that they've lit it. I think we've had some white signs too, and it has not been lost
Yeah.
without a backboard. I can't think about what we use, but.
Because the overall height of the existing awning is gonna be 6 inches.
And I think we like the idea that the sign kind of like hovers
Mhm.
above the awning itself,
Yeah.
but to add that backboard to it,
Yeah, I get what
I mean, you just lost the whole idea of this thing like hovering.
you're.
So we gotta figure out another alternate to that, but let's talk about the size and other aspects, so while you're at the drawing board, is the size, you're proposing, what's the height of the letters?
18 inches.
Okay.
Just under 2.
On the top, on the high one, okay,
Well, the G's gonna be bigger.
yeah,
But,
the 18 inches
So 18
max.
inches between the G and the top of the B.
So
Okay.
that and.
But your other letters all are.
Yeah, they're not quite 18, it's overall.
Okay.
Actually, that's an interesting point, Sean. In the regulation, it's talking about the size of the letter. It's not talking about the overall height of the word.
So the
So,
R is
20
9
inches is the max for a letter, or a logo, but not, so you could
Yeah, you
actually
can vary.
stagger and have more than 20 inches overall if you need it.
I think 18 is gonna be fine in this location.
I do too, I think
it's
it's
gonna
just,
work.
I mean, you just have to figure out how to make it
Yeah,
hover without a backboard.
yeah. Okay, and, there's other signage, right? There's blade signs, is that part of your package?
I believe it should be in there, but I'll have to. I'm not the one who submitted.
So
that.
you didn't create this?
I created this, but I didn't create the application to submit this. It's a little confusing.
So where are the blade signs?
So here's the,
It should be in that other rendering that I gave you guys, but I guess it's not submitted
It's not on this.
online. It should be the second.
Oh, wait,
That's the
yes,
one.
there's one there.
Someone else submitted this for you?
Correct.
Oh, here they are. Here's one.
Well, but that's just that's it in the rendering,
it's right there in the rendering here.
Mhm.
But we have no information on how big, how it's mounted. Yeah.
Okay. So when you come back, have another page that covers the blade sign. You know, the front, you know, like, maybe you should take over, I'm sure you've
Yeah.
done this before.
Yeah.
The specs of it, the materials, size, it cannot be lit.
Yeah, that's a non-eliminated.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Figure I'd mention it while we're here. All right, and if you have any signage that is going on the door, this proposed, are there window clings being proposed for the windows and doors?
That one I'm not too sure. I'll
Okay.
double back.
Can you confirm with that?
Correct.
Okay. If there is, put it in the presentation, have them mock it up for you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
these are the barricade signs. So while they're building, they're gonna have
that's
these
the
little
construction.
bear burger things.
Okay,
No objection there.
No,
We've-
that's
We've been
temporary,
regulating
yeah.
the site, because there, if you remember at some point,
Yeah.
what was it, Sweet Green, or one of them had this gigantic banner, which was not
right, okay, whatever, yeah.
just for the construction. So I think that they've made an effort to understand that, so that's something they can, be approved to do.
Okay. So the temporary signage is approved.
Yeah, we don't really, so the chairs and all that, was that approved already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think so,
pretty
yeah.
That was in my
good.
last
So
letter.
it was really just the sign,
Mm-hmm.
which is represented differently here, which
Right.
unfortunately does not show the real thing.
I did have a question. So everything
Yeah,
is either halo lit or backlit.
Yes,
Correct,
not
okay.
face lit.
Got it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is second option that you guys have on your table is the front. So I just wanted to.
This one,
No, that one's a back.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we also had side lit letters,
Mm-hmm.
which could be more visible if they were sticking up. Right?
Yeah.
So you'd see them, you'd see
Yep.
the outline,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
but they probably wouldn't want to be white in the front and then white on the side. So you'd have to, maybe you have to play a lot with this black and white thing. I don't know. That's how that reads.
But there's a way to do like
Burger
a,
cut in half.
there's a way to do like a black, what looks like during daytime, a black border on the sides that's actually hold. So
Perforated.
perforated,
Oh,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So the light in the evening then comes out of that and lights it.
Yeah.
Right.
So there are other options we should
Yeah.
get at.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm so sorry we have to see you again in
It's
November.
alright. Not a
Okay.
problem.
If you want to speak in the meantime, you can work with myself and Hervé. I would be happy to make sure that we're on the
we should
right same
probably have a
page, so that it's
meeting, yeah.
Okay.
so that it's a favorable report next time we come
Got it.
through.
Sounds good.
All right, David, so nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, ARB under new business, we have ARB number 39, 2023. This is 975 Boston Post Road for Antonio's. This is signage, new signage being proposed as well.
See, that's how, it's so amazing that it actually closes itself. Hold on.
You did a good job, Hervé.
I told him upstairs, it's not the easiest thing to manipulate.
No,
those
it's not.
things, so-
And you're not even a tech guy, who would know?
And I'm really not a tech guy.
See, if I didn't expose your secret, we'd all think you were.
Give me a brush and some watercolor.
Yeah.
You know, I'm much more at ease than this.
We'll have you paint one of these things.
I'll just paint it. All right, so Antonio's, we should have, let's see how beautifully labeled these. Color rendering, sign permit Antonio's. Does that sound like a good one to open?
Yep.
While he's pulling that up, can you introduce yourself?
Look at that.
Yes. My name is Ashley Andrews, and I am representing Antonio's. So they have two existing awnings that are currently red that they want to recover black, and then this one is going to be installed, added.
Sturdy, so two existing awnings, they're all being replaced, or you're,
So the two are being recovered with the black, and then this left one is being added.
So there isn't an awning there.
No.
okay.
And then here we have the stud mounted letters, and then up this, we have the backer with the stud mounted letters.
So I'm gonna jump in with I would love to see the signage on the awnings here. I think it's a little, I don't know if you guys look at it.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's like, it's kind of floating on the, I know why you put it on the facade. I think it'd be better, and for you guys, it'd be more visible if you put it over one of the awnings, like the entrance awning to right in. And then as part of that, I wanna know if what the business name is.
Antonio's Italian Bistro.
That's on your legal papers? Italian Bistro? I need you to confirm that.
Okay.
Otherwise, if it's just Antonio's in the papers, then it has to say Antonio's. And then you can put on the windows, Italian Bistro, you can put a sign there, but not on the actual official signage, the description can't make it.
Has to be the corporate registered.
Yep, I remember that from the last one I did now.
But what do you guys think about that, like on the awning? That was my initial.
My initial thought was to actually move the word
Oh.
Antonio's over the
That would
entrance
help too.
awning, right? Not put it in that pier, because it's kind of like that, it's wider than the pier, but not much.
Yeah,
But if it was over the awning, that, not on the awning, but over the awning, but
Oh,
maybe
that-
there's, yeah, maybe there's something on the door that
So
has
you
the
would still
full-
like it on the, you'd still like it on the.
I think so.
I think so, but I was saying that really cute, because they're, if the Italian, if Italian Bistro, or even if it's not, the door was painted red.
That's not readable.
No,
Down
it's
this road,
really
it's
small.
1.7
It's really-
inch. Up there, I think it's gonna be too small.
And Antonio's can't be made any bigger, but it seems
Mhm.
it should have more breathing to it.
Does Antonio have a cool A logo that could be in a circle on top of these, like that would be in New York,
Yeah.
right? You'd see that in New York, you'd have the name and then you'd have just a
Like a
logo.
logo. That would help. Okay, so what we're saying, sort of shift Antonio's, so everyone's saying, majority think move Antonio's, keep the sign as is, but shift it, center over the door above the awnings.
Okay,
You could consider also adding some sort of logo to your awnings on the front.
okay.
I would also consider removing Italian Bistro from that front description altogether, even if it is your legal name, removing it because you can't read it anyways,
Right.
and think about using it as a cling or description on your door.
On the door,
you know?
yeah.
And now to the back.
Not, do you want it on the whatever, your logo thing, on the actual awning or on the flat of the awning?
I think the flat is designed pretty narrow, so you won't have
You're not gonna
much.
see much there.
9.5.
That's 9 inches, so that's not much. So you probably, I don't know, if there was one, you know, for a Zabar type thing, it'd be like a big circle, 2 foot, with a A in the middle of it. I don't know if that's too many of them, but.
I think if you do it a cling on the front entry door, Italian Bistro,
Yeah, if you have that
and
and
maybe
that.
that's where the logo would go, if they
Yeah,
have
maybe.
one. I think, I don't
I
think
don't-
an awning's gonna
Yeah, I don't,
carry it,
No.
no.
Can I ask if
No, because you'll never see, you never have the.
You're never gonna have that
the-
perspective.
The perspective,
Mhm.
that's true too. That view is only across the street.
That's right.
If you're walking on the sidewalk,
right.
you won't see it.
That's right.
Okay, what about the back?
So the back has the film brick. What is the material for this?
PVC,
It's a PVC?
yes,
And those are raised letters as well?
yes.
Do they have light? Is that what these are?
Those are there,
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Sure.
if they work or not, yeah, I'm not sure.
And it's black and red, the letters?
Yes,
Or is it black and black?
black and red.
You guys fine with that? Okay.
Yeah. Is that a usable entrance? You can park in the back and then walk in that way?
Yes.
Okay, so the rear sign is good, as is, approved as long as it's part of the business name.
Yep.
On the front, recommend removing the Italian Bistro either way. The sign as presented, but shifting it over the entrance door.
Okay.
And then considering a logo and Italian Bistro, some sort of cling on your door and or your window, even over the other windows.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Need to
allowed
see-
10%. You're allowed 10%
Thank you.
decal on, per opening. So in this kind of case, if we only took the glass of this, that would make a fairly small sign. But if you wanted a proportion that gets better for this entire opening, then that's something we can talk about.
Okay.
Because the regulation is silent about opening. What is the opening? Is this the between mullions, or is this the masonry opening?
Okay.
So we can, whatever is appropriate, actually, we can look at it.
Yeah,
Because we don't want too small either.
Right.
I mean, like, Daniela Cucino is a good example. If you shrink it too much, then
we can't see it. So, need to see new PDFs, you don't need to come back here.
Okay.
You'll get a favorable report letter based on administrative approval of a final submission that
Yes.
incorporates these changes.
Okay.
I will submit to you via a viewpoint system,
Yep.
recap of what these changes are.
Okay.
I'll also put in there, in addition to as part of the guidelines, 10% window clings, and we don't allow standing menu boards in town.
Okay.
I'll give you the heads up, because if you put it out there, you're gonna have one of the planning and zoning guys knocking on your door. So I might as well give you the heads up now.
Do we want an address on the door?
Absolutely.
And an address on the front door and the back door.
Both? Okay.
I think you'll have a lot of people that come in the back. I think a lot of people actually will park in the back parking lot.
Okay.
I think it'll help you.
Okay. All right.
good, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you
night.
so much for your time, Ashley.
Thank you.
It's good to know if I'm slipping somebody
Yeah,
else's
you are.
job.
Yeah,
I actually have a thought, I was like, I thought Michelle's gonna bring it.
I know, well, that's why I nudged you, but then you ignored me, so. John,
Our final item on our agenda tonight is ARB number 40, 2023. This is for Cloud 10 at 54 Boston Post Road. They are proposing new facade, lighting, and signage.
Sorry, we're a little low tech tonight.
So that looks-
Old school, yeah.
Nice.
Throwback Tuesday.
Tell me in there if there anything that you want me to open, or
I think
maybe-
we've got it all, just because we went to the trouble of printing them, we'll use them.
Sure.
But thank you so much, I appreciate that.
While they're setting
Yeah,
up, can I give everybody a 2-minute background about why we're here in the first place?
You could introduce yourself, for the
Sure.
record, all the different players and who represents what.
Sure.
And then go for it.
My name's Brendan Johnson, I'm the CEO and founder of the company. You want everybody introduced at once?
You can introduce it whatever you
Oh,
want. You're on a roll,
sorry.
Brendan, go for it.
Sorry. So, this is probably a little different of an application than everyone's used to seeing, and I thought it's, a little context might be helpful before we get into everything. So I've been a resident in Darien for 21 years. I got into this business out of frustration with the current options to wash my car, bluntly. The second reason I'm here tonight is my friends who live in town, who are also my investors, have been bugging me for the last 6 years to build one of these in town. And I said there's no place to put one. We finally found a place to put one. The Bertucci's came up and we hopped on it very quickly. So, just a little bit of background. My old job was at one of the large investment banks in New York, and we had hired a well-known consulting firm to do some work for us. And one of the takeaways was that a little over 70 cents of every dollar spent in every household in the United States was controlled by the female head of household. That was...
You had to question that?
I came back. I'm going to stay clear of that. But to say that was an enlightening fact for the firm was an understatement. And the pivot that happened over the next 12 months was monumental. So when I got into this business, the first thing I did was my friend ran the marketing department for a Fortune 10 company. And I said, I'm starting a car wash company. And I said, I don't know anything about marketing at all. I said, I need some help here. So and I said, I only want females to opine on it because in my opinion, one, with that statistic was important. And two, I think this is an industry that over the last 40 to 50 years just has not reinvested. I think we all can look at the car washes in America, and I think everything else has evolved except the car wash. So our branding firm is an all-female firm out of New York City. They've got clients that are 10,000 times as big as we are. They let me hire them as a favor at about a 90% discount. I took these women on a tour, 2-state tour, to look at your typical car washes. And I forced them to go through ones that they refused to go through because they were in such bad shape. I wanted them to understand, before they came up with any of the branding and the logo and anything, exactly what we're dealing with. So everything you see tonight, the colors, the branding, everything was designed by an all-female firm. Our facilities are, by design, much larger than typical car washes, with plenty of room to maneuver. They're well lit and they're spotless. We want the same impact that you have going into an Apple store or a spa coming on that you get when you come on our facilities. We want people to just be absolutely blown away by it. We invest for the long term. I think this is probably going to be one of the most expensive car washes that we're proposing in the United States. We went overboard on everything. We hired Bruce Beinfield as an example. I think, Bruce, this is your first car wash client ever, agreed?
Yes, but I want to clarify, I'm not a woman.
Stay away from that one too. And our mandate to him was, we want something iconic, state-of-the-art. I live here, our investors here live here. We want everybody to say, that's a car wash. So what you see tonight has gone through many, many iterations. Bruce, you don't know this, but all of our investors, many are females, but if they weren't, all the females in the investor group opined on everything you've done because we wanted their opinions. So we want this to be a source of pride in town. So with that context, again, it's probably not what you're thinking about a car wash. I will turn it over to Bruce and team, who knows a lot more about what you're probably going to ask than I do. And I'll let everybody else introduce themselves.
Before you hear from Bruce, for the record, Jay Klein, attorney with Carmody, Torrance, Sandback in Tennessee. Just give you some orientation for the site and the proposed layout, and then we'll get to the good stuff in Bruce's architecture and in Matt's revamped landscaping. The property, was Bertucci's for as long as I could really remember, up until I think about a year ago when they left town. The site's been vacant since that time. When you look at this aerial, you see what the property has been for a while now. At over 2 acres, it's almost a parking lot with a building in the middle, right? 80% of the site is paved parking area. And that was really a significant opportunity that we saw in terms of improvement for the property. Matt's landscape plan here, which we'll get into after Bruce runs through our architecture, shows you what we want to do at the property. And again, I think the exciting thing about working with guys like Brendan and also his colleagues who are seated beside you, some Darien residents, some not, that's okay, nobody's perfect. What they want to do is really make this an important part of town, and it's their hometown location. This isn't just any other facility for them. This is meaningful, this is important, and we're all here to make their vision a reality. I think important site features, just to reorient you with what we hope this will look like, folks will access the property via the relocated curb cut. They will drive down the driveways into a 3-lane queuing system. That queue can accommodate up to 40 vehicles, so there will never be a situation where there's any sort of impact on the post road. There'll always be, this is a high-end, very efficient operation. Customers will be able to enter their information at 3 pay stations. Cloud 10 has a monthly membership program, so if you're a member, you won't have to press a thing when you get here. Their system will recognize your license plate, and you'll be able to go right in to the car wash, which takes around 3-4 minutes to get throughout the entire process. For folks who want to, they'll be able to utilize vacuums to clean out the interior of their vehicles. Otherwise, you're free to make your way back out to the post road, where you will see really the significant street trees that Matt is proposing. Something that's not germane to you all, obviously, when we go to the P&Z Commission, there'll be discussions on a whole host of issues, special permit criteria, stormwater systems, and of course, traffic, right? Brendan and Jeff Augusta, also a Darien resident, familiar with the post road, and so Cloud 10 is willing to partner with the town of Darien to pay for and install on Cloud 10's dime a traffic signal at the intersection to help reduce traffic issues on the post road. So when Brendan and Jeff say that they want to make their mark on the town, they really mean it. So that's sort of the site background.
Post road is a state car road, so that's not a Darien thing anyways, but.
No, we'll need DOT approval, but we'll need the town. So.
You're pretty close to an intersection, aren't you?
Yes, it'll be the West Norwalk Road is right here, and the post road is here.
But there's also a signal where.
Exit
further
further,
up.
exit 13 is just
Yeah.
past the corner.
Yeah.
So we're paying that to sync up too.
Yes.
Just like in your New York City.
Yeah, exactly. So we think that's meaningful for the community as well.
Jason, can you tell me what I can't see on up that far ahead, I don't have it pulled here.
Yeah.
Trees you've got listed along the road there?
Sure. Do you want we were gonna have Matt go after Bruce, but if you.
All right, then, okay, I thought you were doing the landscape plan now,
Yeah,
fine.
no. So I think Bruce, do you wanna get into your building? Thank you.
This is Bruce Feinfield of Feinfield Architecture. These are just photos of the existing building on the property, and I think what's significant here is the building quite a bit closer to the road than what we're proposing, and there's a lot of pavement currently, and we're going to be reducing that substantially. This photograph is actually up on the screen, so I think this just shows the location of my building on the site and working with, Jason indicated. The direction we were given was that they wanted this to be an iconic building, something that would be a prototype that they could take this brand, build these elsewhere as needed. Kept referring to the Apple stores as a successful branding strategy where I think everyone agrees that it's a very elegant kind of experience. And so we explored a number of initial ideas as to how to, what this building should be. And these are just some of the early iterations that we went through. This this version had a more of a crinkleated facade that was made out of perforated metal, with the idea of being more of just a sculptural object in the landscape. In this version, it was the entire building, which is covered in a light lattice in which plant material would just grow up, and it would just become part of the landscape. This version, which is shown here in more rendered form, is the idea of taking a frosted glass facade and tilting it to the landscape, again creating a simple sculptural object. The New England Red Barn is something that we, it's like, well, what did, the question coming up, what does Darien want? And so in thinking about that question, we were concerned that some of the more sculptural design ideas might be interesting, but there might be discomfort at the same time, just because sculptures are pretty subjective in nature in terms of whether you want them and the longevity, the potential longevity of those ideas were also subject to question. So
I can tell you what the ARB wants. We just like good design, well-created materials, and something that fits into the landscape. Those are our three guiding principles. So continue, but it's, that's what Darien wants here.
So essentially, through that process, we came up with the idea of it being just a very simple, elegant, rectangular box, and with very high quality materials on it. And so this is a composite aluminum panel wrapping all sides of the building, and accented by this translucent material, which would be in planar with the overall building, so there would be no differentiation in terms of in and outs on the building, with the idea of keeping it more of a pure form, and keeping the idea more simple in that respect. There's the ability to backlight these translucent panels so that when a car goes through, it could, the idea of registering the motion on the outside of the building as this. It's a very high-tech process that they've developed, and there are no, for functional reasons, there are no windows into the building. So we thought that this might be a way of signaling to the outside that there was activity going on by having lights that would be behind these panels that would be programmed to work with the process, the robotic process on the interior of the building. The signage is just a simple panel there. Again, that's flush with the rest of the exterior facade. We heard back that from Jeremy that there were some comments about, well, why isn't this building broken up more? And in looking at some at one or two of the other car washes that they've had, it seemed to us that a lot of the in and outs seemed relatively arbitrary in nature, and they didn't fit the idea of a simple sculptural object in the landscape. So we migrated away from that idea. Here's rendering more of the back of the building, there's no real visibility of this except for when you're actually on the property. It really, there's enough tree barrier between this property and I-95 that it's not particularly visible. This shows, these are examples of the actual color and material of what we've specified for the building. We have the physical samples.
You have physical, the aluminum,
So
right?
we can pass them out. But it's the panels are installed as a rain screen, and it's one that's been used on a number of, like the Darien Range Rover dealership has a similar material on it. And it's used quite a bit on high-end car dealerships around the country.
Bruce, do you have the total dimensions of the building offhand, the overall height and width?
The overall height is so we're at 21 feet.
21 feet.
21 feet, 2.5, oh no. 22 feet, approximately 22 feet.
Okay.
It's 21 feet to the roof.
And what's that width there on that end line, the relative width?
Yeah.
On the end?
Yeah.
Right up?
Short end. The depth of the building.
The building's about 141 feet long
Okay.
and 36 feet wide. Those are those dimensions.
What's the maintenance like on the translucent material when it's on the exterior skin? What is the maintenance on the on the polycarbonate on the exterior skin, especially when it's in the same plane with the Alucobond panels? How do you keep it clean? How do you make sure that it's not, doesn't have the soot lines that kind of can?
It will require, it's funny you should ask that because one of their head of construction is here and he's been a stickler about how if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong in terms of how these buildings look. But our thinking was that because it's all in one plane, and because of the translucent nature of the material, it's not going to really show dirt. It's kind of it'll get naturally cleaned by the rain. It's just I know it's the way a lot of people get their car washed in this day and age, but that they're on a regular basis, it probably will need to be cleaned. Steve?
Would you like a solid answer?
Yes.
You need to stand up.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Sauce. I'm the Executive Vice President of Cloud 10 Car Wash, and I developed them. I'm sorry?
I need you to go up front.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me sneak behind
Just spell your last name, please.
S-A-U-S-A. Sorry, Bruce. Thank you. Steve Sauce, S-A-U-S-A. You'll never forget the last name. We clean our buildings regularly, which is something that's very unusual in our industry. We have a maintenance plan for the exterior of our buildings, the interior of our buildings, all of the surfaces, hard surfaces outside, they are cleaned on a regular basis. And to that extent, we also restripe our lots at least twice a year, which is something that just doesn't get done in this day and age. So, we clean everything. We don't like soot on our buildings.
Yeah, you do see it on metal panel buildings, and you do see it on EFS. So there, because there's pollution in the air, right? And
Right.
I'm just asking about the material itself.
It's an alucobond material?
Well, I said it, I use that word term for metal
Yeah, it's a
panels.
sandwich panel, so it's an
Yeah.
aluminum structure
Yeah,
with a
yeah,
core.
Yeah, no, the metal panel I understand, is the translucent panel and how, you know, you can have rain coming down and it's leaving stripes on the translucent panel.
I think that you'll see us probably polishing those like we do our signage inside the car wash. We actually wax our signage.
Okay.
So, to do the same thing, to remove scale and
So
all
you're
the
gonna be
other
getting
stuff.
up 26
So it's like
feet?
I have a
Ladder?
40-foot tower in
Okay.
Pennsylvania that we'll be maintaining.
So speaking of the height, just sorry to be a mean architect, but the number of courses does not match between the rendering and the flat elevations. Actually, if anything, I think your rendering is making the box look taller. There is four courses above the band of light at the back entrance here, when in your rendering is only 2, and there is one less course in between the 2 bands of light. So you actually have 3 extra bands of metal on that rendering versus what's on that drawing, which is probably a nicer lower proportion. I mean,
Yeah, I
nicer,
apologize for that.
Yeah.
subjective, but
Yeah.
it looks taller there, way taller there than actually one.
Yeah, the reason for that is,
There's a parapet.
after those drawings were submitted, we were concerned that the building would be perceived as too tall. And just in the last few days, we reduced the height of the building. These renderings
So these are better than the.
This is-
Okay, so that's important, because that's what you've received.
These are the updated renderings.
So we don't have the updated renderings in our actual
Not in your file.
uploaded files?
No, we can upload this.
So the final height is, in the new rendering is 22 feet?
Yes,
And this was probably taller.
this was 25, it was a 3-foot difference.
We picked up on that too.
So Cloud 10 actually already does exist, is that correct?
We do, we're in Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
And this is not, so this is a prototype of a building that you currently don't.
So our current buildings cost a heck of a lot less than this does, and, or will, and are much less sophisticated. We've got a new model that is not out yet, you haven't seen on our website, this is version 4.0, that's version 1.0. It's still high-techy, and it's got, Steve, you can explain it, it's got, you can explain it better than I do, I'm the numbers guy, not the architect guy.
I feel like, to me, and then, I love the concept, I think the landscape is so much better than what it was, but it seems to me that, in my mind, that, Bruce started with a really cool, like, sculptural element-looking building, and to me, this is just a box. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a great box, but like, it feels like it could be so much if you're spending that much more, whether, you know, you slope the roof, you give it some more pizzazz to make it look more than just, I mean, to me, this looks a little bit more like a train car, it doesn't speak to the level of sophistication, I don't think, that you're looking for. And I feel like you guys are, as a team, are very talented people, and that it could be a lot more, you know, whether, it just could be a lot more design.
I also think, I love the idea of activating the skin based on the activity on the inside, but the reality is you're really not gonna see it until the evening, right? You're not gonna have enough light contrast during the day. So you're then looking at this big box.
Right, exactly.
And there's not enough, perhaps, relief or, I don't know, it's just pretty heavy.
Yeah. I mean, that original drawing that you showed in the schematics, that was
Yeah.
like, there were some really pretty things going on there. I mean, like, I lived in Denmark for a long time, and a lot of these buildings looked a lot like the sketches, and I was like, oh, this looks amazing.
First one.
Beautiful.
We
But
love
they-
the first one too, here's the problem.
What?
This is different than probably anything you're gonna look at, in that this is a very functional, high-volume facility. There's little kids in there, so my personal favorite was, have you ever seen new Audi dealers, they've got multiple layers of grids on it. As Steve said, we're gonna chop kids' hands off, because they're gonna be out, get out of the car while people are vacuuming, and they're gonna throw gum in there, put their hands in there, and then we're gonna have an ambulance there.
But I
all the
think,
time.
I think we're responding to the shape of
Yeah.
the building, where
Shape.
you've got the
Top of
roof
that.
lines, kind of coming down to a point, not to say that maybe the skin, I mean, maybe the skin is what it is, but there's a little bit
So,
more relief in the volume.
So one idea that I have learned by my clients regarding thinking about the same issues was the idea that we could take this building as it is, but again tilt it so that one end was higher than the other, and it would be more unique, you know,
Yeah.
would read as more sculptural if we did that.
Yeah.
It should be
Yeah.
sculptural,
We were,
it needs to.
we,
Yeah.
we were timid because we knew we had to, but we didn't know how the citizens of Darien would.
But it's already so
Yeah.
modern as it is, like if you're gonna take it to that level, like,
Make a statement.
make a statement.
yeah.
Like,
So
right,
that-
like
And
it's
very
fun.
European in that,
Right.
from that respect.
Yeah, and I don't,
We did our focus groups, so I hear you. This went through 50 Darien residents, and they picked it. We went with what they picked.
I think what
They
the
put
problem
a
is gonna
ship
be,
in Darien.
is you're gonna
What's
be
that?
driving,
They put a ship in Darien. It looks like a freighter ship, and it's missing the,
The comeback was, the feedback, the direct feedback on a lot of the other ones is, why are you putting the MoMA in Darien?
what?
the
The
room.
MoMA or the Guggenheim Museum.
Well, here's the interesting thing. And
And I'm the least creative person in the room.
yeah, I'm with
for
you.
the record.
But that's why I sit here with all the smarter ones. That particular end of Darien on the post road allows us the creativity to do something different. You start moving, half a mile towards downtown, and we're going to push you very hard to the New England look. But because you're on the Norwalk side of Mini Cooper, you're across from a couple of very modern glass bank branches. You got Sandoval's, gas station there. You got you're on the brink of where you're at the intersection of exit 13 and Priceline. I can't think of it. 800 Post Road. Boston. So, in the scheme of things for the town of Darien, this is one of the few plots where you can go with hard on what something really ought to be, different. Half a mile go to the other side of Mini Cooper and you get into past Dutchess, then you get to the office building there. And after that, it's going to be all New England.
We were a little scared to take too much of our architectural license. If you guys give us that,
You should, because
should.
your
This is
idea is
great.
beautiful, the sculpture idea. It's beautiful. I think to support what you're saying, if you're driving down the road, most people are not gonna stop and appreciate this for looking at this in a vacuum. And I think when you show this to your different groups of people, 50 residents, they're looking at this on a sheet of paper and they're not thinking of it in a larger context. So if you're going by this, the beauty of a simple rectangular box, I think will be lost on the post road in this area. So take the direction, go with it, make it a sculptural piece where it makes you stop and look and say that is a deliberately intended
I love
Neat
this
piece
big
of art.
if you guys give us that, we were scared to come in with something.
So here's what
We vision too, it's okay. We're not all New England staunch.
I literally said, maybe we just put Nantucket shingles on it.
Oh,
No.
God, no.
We all live here, it's
Listen, we
very
spent
conservative.
But
a
you're
lot
not-
of
but
time on Mini
You're not
Cooper.
downtown.
You're not in the context
And-
of that architecture. You're like on an island by yourself. And so, and it's a big piece of property that you can do that
And if you're
without.
gonna take it to one extreme, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay, we can,
I also,
Right.
can I just, I have another comment, because I'm really loving that translucent thing, but,
if you look at the Westport Volvo dealer, it's the same thing. If you look at that online, you'll see them backlit. That
and,
material,
and how does that look like, what does that look like during the day?
White, it looks like
white.
it looks like
So I
that.
wonder, I mean, just the idea of activity, expressing itself on the skin, can you, for the daytime, can you have transparent glass so you can actually see into the building, so you can see the,
We'd love to do
the,
that.
I don't want
We'll
Why?
he's clearly the operations guy.
It's
I
tough
just-
to clean.
You're going a good direction though.
But you're
Look-
cleaning this, how is this different
Oh,
than a
no,
piece of
no,
glass?
so you just went off-roading in your Jeep. all of you just went off-roading
Yeah.
or ski season, your cars are filthy.
Got it.
You're going through, that stuff is flying on the glass windows. So
Got
you're
it.
driving by and that is, Steve's saying he doesn't like it because it's
Well, but you're not.
We can figure something out.
If you're doing a rain screen, there is space between the skin and what's happening
Correct.
on the inside. I'm talking about the messy can be on the inside and maybe you clean it once a day, but you're not gonna perceive that mess on the outside, on the rain screen part. But you're gonna be able to see the activity, the cars coming through, the machinery. Let it express itself on the skin. I don't know.
We're thrilled that you guys are up for letting us have a little fun with it.
Yeah, you wanna go the other end of town, you got problems on this end of town.
No, I don't think, we've approved Shake Shack though, people came and thought we went like that, but we loved it, it was unique in itself, it fits in Darien because it's its own authentic, yeah, Arvin.
I have another question about the master planning. Now, the sculptural aspect is fantastic, I think everybody's going in that direction. But right now, in front of that building to be a stupendous architectural gesture, or a bunch of vacuuming stations. Now, this is what you're gonna be seeing first from the post road, is all the pipes and the things and the cars in front. Now, I know that's a deliberate move, making the building further setback, but if it is to be a sculpture that is to be attracting the attention, should there be, and I know it means the whole site plan redesigning and rethinking, should the building be closer to the post road to be more noticeable, and all the service activity, including the vacuuming, be further back?
Or at
in
least
the
like,
back.
from your point of view, and I'm just the woman that's speaking from who I am, if I'm paying X amount of money to go through a car wash, and I've just come from skiing, and then I have to get out in the freezing cold and vacuum my own
Yeah,
car.
not happening.
Not happening.
Oh, I disagree, I vacuum my own car, I would love to do extra vacuuming.
I-
In the middle of.
My wife said the
And
same,
then
my wife
after
said
you
the
come-
same
Oh,
thing.
Really? Okay.
Next time you go through a car wash,
Extra.
hit the stopwatch.
Extra.
The minute you pull in, hit the stopwatch, and the minute you pull out, hit the stopwatch again. And what we trade, so this is over-engineered to the point that the best analogy is, you're grabbing one of the Darien fire trucks to water your front lawn. There is so much throughput in there, so our goal is that I never get a call from anybody in town that there's ever a line, ever. So,
But if I'm a high maintenance Darien woman, and you're telling me that I need to vacuum my car that
You-
is full of Cheerios and everything, I mean, that's not my stage of life
No,
right
that's-
now, but like,
we have, let me go and you can go. We had some in Naples, we got out of Florida. We had people driving Bentleys and Rolls Royces and you name it, and they're getting out of the car because they want the 25 minutes of their life back. You can see these in Palm Beach, they're building them left and right. Ferraris, you name it, they're getting out, they're all doing it. So it's
Yeah.
speed, you're going, we make it so much easier. So you go to a car wash now, it's a serious errand. You go to one of our car washes, you're in and out in 4 minutes, you don't have to vacuum the car that much because it's that much cleaner. 9 out of 10 times I go through mine, I use one in Stanford, I just skip the front. I said, don't even bother vacuuming because it's clean.
But the vacuuming is included,
It is included.
it's just this is
If you want
extra.
to.
It's extra.
Okay.
So,
No, not extra cost.
No, I know, but extra if you want to vacuum
Yes.
more. But her makes a good point though about
Why
building.
why so many vacuum station and why in the front of the
Through-
building
so-
instead of flipping?
Go ahead, we looked at flipping it.
So there's some setback issues, there's safety in vehicle flow, traffic flow. Obviously, activity breeds activity. These are enormously expensive buildings, and we do need them to do a certain amount of business to pay for themselves. And typically, you want to put your vacuums in the front where people can see what's going on and not hiding it. Is the restaurant busy? I have no idea. You know, do I want to go? So I think in looking at what we've done, and we were very thoughtful about this because this is all I do. I don't know how to cook anything other than grilled cheese and make a tuna fish sandwich, but I know how to build car washes. So the aspect of why would you want to vacuum your car or you wouldn't do it as a high maintenance person. I don't know you, I don't think you're high maintenance, I think you're the general public customer. We have operations in other areas, high income, high value cars, and I would tell you that the moms love the car wash, they tell us all of the time, and what they love is, as Brendan attests to, Sometimes they vacuum once in 20 visits, and they want to get the Cheerios and French fries and goldfish out of the car. And most of the time, they just go through. They want the car to be clean, they want the kids to enjoy themselves, they just want to go through and come out and keep going on with their day. They went to soccer or whatever, and the car got dirty.
A lot
It's
of
just-
people, specifically the focus groups, a lot of women don't want
Someone else in their
the
car.
typical car wash worker, and I had some very fancy women in Madison Avenue in our advertising firm. I forced them to go through
Hanging onto their
in their
bags.
brand new white Range Rover. They wanted nothing to do with it. The guy had an ankle
you-
release thing on, and they don't want those people in their car.
There's
Can you
a
at
time.
least just hear me
Yeah,
out? And I'm-
sure, sure.
Can you go back to the vacuum or that vacuum thing? Could Bruce come up with some sort of thing where the vacuum things are a portion of them are covered, so like it's freezing cold and
Kind of
I
windscreen or
still need to vacuum my car, right?
Covered like a canopy or covered?
Could be a portion of the box, cover like a.
I feel like if that's the case, if it's in the middle of winter, that's not the month you're vacuuming the car out, right?
You're gonna be doing it in the
I think
spring.
if they're gonna put all this money into this beautiful sculptural piece of artwork, it's gonna be a linear shape that you'll see. Like, I feel like to put anything in front of that will be disservice
I
to.
actually like the idea of all the vacuuming sort of being exposed. Again, machine, it's the machine. And that's the business.
The vacuum apparatus are relatively sculptural in nature, but there's a number of them. And so that was part of the reason that we wanted the backdrop to be neutral. So hearing what I've heard tonight, the idea I was expressing
Top
was
left.
Top left.
No, but he was talking
Oh,
about
that's-
his idea. About
this is
twisting.
yeah, a building form like this, using the materials that we presented tonight, but the building form would be lower at one end than the other, and the linear panels would be following the roof line.
You all like the top left.
We all want the top left. That's like
That is
that
this
in the
building.
store.
Rendering
This is this
This
building.
one here, which is.
I think we like the
this
shape
one
of the
derivative
top
this
left.
one.
Oh, I'm sorry, that one. They're talking about this one.
We
Bruce.
like the shape
Which is this
of
one.
the
Yeah, with the
box.
skin
You
kind of,
guys want it, okay.
the skin does this.
I also don't like, personally, I've spoken too much again, but I don't really like as many of I think one of the nice beauties of any of those renderings is you don't see so many, like brick, sort of like brick breaking up that clean look. I mean, it would be nice if it wasn't so ashlar looking, like if it was
Well-
like just like linear lines or something following it up versus like.
Okay, that's what Bruce is talking about.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, but not vertical, just horizontal.
Yeah, I think that's what he's
Yeah,
saying.
horizontal, yeah.
So what I'm talking about is the form, the shape of the building would be as shown in this rendering. The panels would be in line with the roof, and therefore, and still what's being proposed are 1 foot wide by 8 foot long panels, so it still have a linear effect, but those would die into the ground at an angle.
Yeah.
But so the building would have definitely have more of a sculptural feeling, and when people looked at it, it would appear a little bit more different and impact. What we always judge our buildings by is the emotional content that's in them and how people react to them and how it makes them feel. So it would clearly be more sculptural in the way people interact with it, because it's just different enough. At the same time, it's got the same elegance as the simple box. It's just
Part of me does though, Bruce, worry that is still a little oversimplified. It's beautiful in itself, but again, oversimplified with the post road if we're gonna miss it. Like, almost at this angle, it almost feels like a trapezoidal shape, which would be very neat. But I think on the post road, I'm thinking, you're thinking that's gonna be a linear, perpendicular to the post road, in which it might be still a little more difficult to feel that way.
They're
You're gonna see it much more dramatically, because you've got these the horizontal lines hitting the ground at an angle.
I guess, yeah, if you have to see the lines, I guess, very.
Yeah, so I think it's how you landscape that edge, and you've got the vacuum cleaners kind of up against that, right, facade, so you're not really having shrubs in front, so you may be able, I don't know.
The other constraint we
Okay.
had, just, I don't think it's brought up, it has been brought up yet, again, the non-artistic guy, but having lived in this town for a while, I knew one thing had to stay there, and it's those trees out front. We had that constraint, those are very old trees,
Yeah.
they're grand trees, so in terms of flipping the building, and this went through 100 different iterations, the bottom line is, A, it can't work, and two, the lens with which you see the building from the street is severely restricted because we've got all these trees covering the building. So basically, you know, you get from the street, this is what you see.
Yeah.
Next time you're out on the post road, take a look and see what I mean.
But you'll appreciate it once you get through.
Yes, you'll appreciate it once you get through.
When you're outside, it'll be a different feel.
Yeah, did you try to turn the building at 90 degrees and make the taller part face the entrance? That fit?
Can't fit.
Divides the property.
Yeah.
You know, setback?
I mean,
It just won't fit, and then we run into traffic. So, yeah.
So I think what you guys are saying, you know, it's a form thing that Bruce and others are saying, and we're excited to bring you a revised version of this building. I think we're happy to get the constructive criticism, but it's form and function here. You know, we don't want to have a situation where there's a backing up in the queuing lanes or anything like that. We want folks to speak to your point, to want to have a quick and you know, seamless time at the property.
Rennes and me did the site planning on this, and working with the Cloud 10 team very carefully, and I questioned where the building was and tried to get it moved around on the site, but the operations, it was just very difficult to fit all the operations, the queuing and the way
we have to plan this
there were
for
very few options.
This is planned for 3 inches of snow on a Wednesday in February, and it's 56 degrees on a Sunday. And everybody's coming. And I don't want the police chief calling me. So that's the reason for the light. That's the reason for all the backs out front. It may look like too many. Most of the time it will be.
In your revised presentation, can you give us a detailing page of the vacuum apparatuses so we can see those? And
Sure.
that'd be nice.
And if you're going to the state about the light situation, the worst light, I think, because I live on Prospect and constantly taking that exit, is the one when you get off the highway coming from the north right there. And it needs a light because to cross to the other side and go left is.
Which one? So I'm coming, I get off,
It's
It's
exit
just
13,
across from,
it's coming south.
It's coming south.
Exit 13, yeah,
Exit
it's
13.
going south, it's the one that comes around where you're almost facing Splash.
Yeah.
That
It's that
one where no one
station.
obeys the double
I
line.
mean, maybe your light will help, but like, it is intimidating to cross that and to go left into town.
We have a great, Marissa Torello, and I know this is a traffic review board, but our traffic engineer has really done a great job in figuring out how, again, we can be part of the solution. And you know, some clients are easy to work with, some clients not easy to work with. I've never had a client come in and say, oh, you know, a traffic signal help, okay. What, tell me what we owe you, you know? That's great to have.
Before we move off architecture, I want to be sure that we're addressing their concerns. Bruce, you were pointing to one picture, and I think that they have in their minds a different one.
I think we like the shape that
The shape of
that's
the
like,
top.
You like
yes,
that.
I do like that shape.
But Bruce was pointing to that bottom one.
Right.
Well, but
We'll make
This is
it,
also,
This one?
That's the one.
that's the one I want.
but I think
That's
Bruce was
That's
just,
the same as this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, we're
But
just
hang
gonna
on.
take the,
Bruce's point was to take the horizontals, not make them horizontal, follow the roof line and go, and so it goes in. So if you take the top left and use the, use the
yep,
horizontal,
exactly that.
use
That's
the
right.
angle.
parquet floor in the middle.
Listen, we're thrilled you are giving us a little bit of leeway here. We were very scared that any of
We
these
want
would
the-
be a little
we
too
want the
too
barn.
much.
The red barn is the
Yes.
most chilling of them all.
I
That
was
would freak
waiting,
us out.
I was waiting
I had to do
for
that
the,
once.
for the Nantucket shingles. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's talk,
Can you trim these trees up?
Yes, we
we're
will
going to.
maintain.
They have to be.
So,
I want to
Take
talk
them
about landscaping. Before we get to that, Bruce, I think you have to want to say something. I also want to talk to you about lighting. So go ahead and continue what you're saying. I want to talk about your.
okay, so this is the building that resonates most.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it
Yes.
is crintalated, and in this case, this was a perforated metal, so it was a different,
We can't do the
I,
perforating.
I think what we're saying is that's the shape of the building,
Usually
but
the
take
barn
your
panels.
skin design,
going
the way you've proposed it in that box, and use your approach where it's, follows the roof line, right? So it's,
Same materials.
yes.
So take all of this and angle these panels down.
That's exactly
across.
right.
Use this long roof line.
Oh, that's kind of fun.
Take the Aluca band panel, start at the top, and then down here we'll get the cutting saw and chop them.
so can that just be a simple facade from there,
Yes.
lower this end?
Yeah, you'll have to cut the piece on the top, on the other left
And
side.
not the crintallation?
No, not the
Because
printer.
that would compete with,
No.
yeah, okay.
But let's talk about lighting. I love the idea of the clear panel, but have high concerns about any sort of lighting display that comes with it. We are pretty strict on what we see with lighting. I love Alex kind of just turning me around though, saying like the idea of actively bringing the, that vocabulary to life on the outside. I think that's neat. I'm worried about doing it through lighting. We really promote dark sky in Darien. We see here, we try to always diminish that, especially at night. So I guess
Maybe there's a way to do it where it's not like bright lights, but it's like a softer.
Yeah, we don't want bright lights. Soft is what
Well,
we're.
and you're already like, well, I don't know. Tim, I'm not suggesting a funhouse activity, but I think that there could, like I said, if there's a way to express what's happening on the inside and the outside without it looking like it's carnival.
I'm very worried though about lights going down. I cannot ever see myself being on board with a light thing going down Darien. It just doesn't, and it almost to me takes away from
No,
the
we don't want
beauty
to.
of
That was a
the.
miscommunication. They're going to be solid,
Yeah,
if at all. I don't want them.
okay. There has to be some sort of smart lighting though, and again, you're onto something, but like, something to accent though the way that the beauty of the sculpture comes together. There's gotta be a way to do it, and I think that needs to be explored more.
The lighting
I
can
mean,
be
we'll show
fully
you the
programmed,
mechanics.
so we have that, it's gonna be LED lighting, and it can be fully programmed to be on when we, when appropriate and off, so that,
So it's not going on at
so there's
midnight,
a lot of
but it's not.
flexibility
But
there and
Like a
I feel like it should be less for show, but more of a way to like further encapsulate the uniqueness of the building. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like right now, it feels like it's for show, getting attention, and it's not like bringing to
So-
light the angles and
We
the.
can
Hold
also
on, we've
uplight
got
the
something
building.
for you. Michael, do we transfer files to Mechanicsburg the night? I don't have night rendering. Do you have access to that on your phone?
No, I don't.
Hold on, I'll get them.
Before we,
Landscape.
Matt talked about the landscape, because I don't think that will really be affected by the changes that we're discussing. One other feature that they wanted to include to demonstrate that this is a sustainable, progressive approach to car washing is to incorporate a solar flower. And this is an
That's
object,
lovely.
these are solar panels that actually
It's awesome.
follow the
really
sun,
wonderful.
so
Very cool.
it's.
And where would that
it's an
go?
additional
Right where
solar-
Matt's,
Okay.
Matt will,
Way
So
cool.
are you gonna use the PV to, provide energy for the building, or is that
Yes.
separate?
Yes.
It's good,
yes,
okay.
it
Very
would,
cool.
it would be.
And are you recycling the water in any way?
So
Love
one thing, so
Love
Steve,
that.
we're trying to get to net zero. We spend money on architecture. We spend a
Bravo.
fortune on water treatment. A fortune.
Well, but eventually
So
that
we're-
is not a fortune that comes back.
Well, that's the way we look at it.
Right.
Most car wash operators are like, why am I gonna spend $700,000 on a water treatment system? Because it gets your water down
I
to
do.
Yeah.
So we
That's-
are
That's
at,
terrific.
in our newest facility, we're at 15, 16 gallons a car.
Are
Those
you
car
guys-
washes are
Are
50
you guys
to
gonna
70.
go after LEED? LEED Platinum, do you know what that is?
It's hard, so LEED certified platinum in the car wash industry is a little bit more difficult because they just don't like how we do what we do. But a
it
net
sounds like you're doing
zero,
it innovatively.
I'm
and
sorry?
And net zero will get you to platinum.
well, so we're working on a net zero water usage right now. We have a very good vendor that we're working with developing new systems because the car wash industry historically has not taken water as seriously as we do. We look at it, obviously, first off, it's a resource you need to preserve. We get that. We believed in that for a long time. Secondly, there's a massive cost to not doing it the right way and just flushing all that water down. So we have some pretty successful washes in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, as low as 13 gallons a car, sometimes
That's
15 or
That's
16.
unheard of. That's like getting 90 miles in a gallon to your car.
Yeah. So it's significant in the sense that we reuse all of the water that we can. There's a certain level of drag out. So part of the net zero program is no matter what vehicle you're driving and taking through the facility, you will drag out a certain amount of water, and that'll go to natural evaporation. We're close to net zero in development of our systems, and we're deploying the biggest system at a facility I'm building right now in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. It's never been done before. There's not a car wash in North America that's doing it. We're doing it. And we have 12,000 gallons of storage underground, much more above ground. We filter, polish, reuse. We do just about everything we can. I wouldn't drink it, but it certainly is good enough for the car washing.
So you're saying you're not doing LEED Platinum?
I would love to, but I don't know how to get there currently because LEED requires other things beyond water.
Yeah, but you're building a building, you can get there.
We can look at it.
Trust me,
Can we look at
been
that?
there, done that, you can do it,
I mean,
if it was a goal of yours.
I will say again, the sustainability measures, and this will be reviewed from a drainage perspective by TAG and Bond, I think, by the town as well. These guys, it's a priority for them. The solar flower was another really exciting
I think
piece
it's
to
terrific
throw
that you
in.
guys are making those moves. I'm not suggesting you do LEED Platinum, but if you've made that statement about being net zero, make sure that the whole building is net zero. And that aligns with LEED Platinum.
I know the lead, at least in project side, not car washes, but it's hard to.
It's very hard.
That process.
But you're doing some big things.
Well, I mean, just like processing the paper.
Well.
Yeah, that's.
Is this a metal?
So you hire somebody who can do it.
Is it a metal frame building? Or
The structure, the building structure is CMU, and then the panels are attached to the
What about
outside.
the roof? Is the roof all?
The roof would be a wood structure with the angle built
Not
into
like a
it.
blue roof, concrete types.
I'm not doing pre-stressed concrete slabs. There's some challenges in getting those materials right now.
Good evening, Matthew Pop, Landscape Architect, Environmental Land Solutions. Prepared the landscape plan before you.
Matthew, what else have you done in town? What did we recently see you?
I did the Shake Shack, the building.
That I happened to mention, okay?
I did 40 Heights Road, which was, we can go with the Virginia Creeper or the English Ivy, either one. I did the next one, the chicken shop, I did that way back when.
Wow,
So,
okay. All right,
Thumbprints everywhere.
great.
Matthew, would you spell your last name for me?
Pop, P-O-P-P.
That's right, thank you.
Again, we're in Norwalk 8 Knight Street. I prepared the landscape plan. One thing you notice about the site is the large trees along the streetscape. So when you get to the site, when you actually walk it, you realize there's two significant trees. Probably the best tree on the site, maybe one of the best trees in Darien, is right here. It's a willow oak. Willow oaks is kind of a southern species. People's getting used often here. But I think it's like 40 inch or maybe bigger than that. It's definitely by far the biggest tree and the nicest tree in the site. And the other tree is down here is a large sycamore here, and there's some understory trees around it. I think there's some Norway maple, some saplings. So we're going to kind of remove the trees around that to highlight, the understory trees around that to highlight that sycamore. The other trees through here, and here, they're oaks, mainly pin oaks, and I think there's a couple more willow oaks. Some of those are thin, the branches are starting to die off. So there's a few of them I propose to kind of replant, like right through here. I think there's 3 or 4 here. So the trees that would remain, you know, this willow oak, this tree, that tree, and then these down here. We did leave a gap right here, coming through here, to see the, we can see the sunflower.
This
There-
tracks the sun.
Yep, there is a rain garden right through here, which we kind of maintain as a low meadow. So that sunflower is located, you know, on the kind of north side. And I think the goal was, you know, if you're driving down through here, it somewhat aligns to be the focal point. Also along the streetscape, we were trying to figure out, there's a lot of discussion like where do you put the sidewalk? You know, the sidewalk right now is right along the edge of the curb. So Darien likes it back a few feet with a grass strip and then the sidewalk. But then if you do that, then the sidewalk's basically into these trees.
Yeah.
So what we did was, I kind of want to keep the sidewalk the same where this willow oak is. I don't want to disturb that. So then we kind of curved it around. We came back into the site and it curves back up and crosses here. I was hoping we could go straight, but I think the engineer said we need to go kind of across here. And then we come back up and then we go in through the site again. So it's way away from the road. It's a lot safer when you walk it. It feels nice. So if they ever plow, if ever snows again and they push the snow up onto the sidewalk, you know, again, right through here, it won't happen. So that was the discussion on the sidewalk. The rest of the trees, you know, here we have red maples here and then back through here. They're kind of on an angle here because there's a proposed drainage line through here, so kind of.
You're proposing putting red maples in?
Yeah, yes. Yep. And then along the building, right through here, and here, we have a small growing birch, Durahee birch. The foundation plantings through here, you know, mainly native grasses, low growing. Along this strip right through here, we have a low growth sumac. It grows maybe 2 feet, 3 feet in height or so, kind of keeps it full. The utility areas get screened with the holly to screen them out. I guess they also are enclosed with, and maybe Bruce can mention this, some structure to screen the utilities from the road. The back of the site pretty much stays the same through here and through here on the side. Lighting we're using a 12-foot high pole. It's a circular fixture, tin fixture, downlit, warm tone, 3000 K temperature.
How many of those are there?
Maybe 15, 17 or so.
That's terrible.
So,
That's a lot.
Let's rethink that. Unless you're talking, I know you're going to planning and zoning, unless there's a requirement for that. I mean, I would propose needing none of those.
If you were to,
I mean, I know you want some safety there, I would be proposing, there's gotta be some sort of even low ground, I mean, something ground lit to kind of set out the, you know, what am I looking for, you know, kind of like create like a
Like an office park has, like those little 4-foot high things?
something ground lit to create just, I don't know, like a property without like a heavy.
Bollard lights.
So that's sort of the pedestrian
Yeah, the
areas
expanse of the
are-
property, yeah, that shows like the, yeah, like, so it's more low lit, ground lit versus something
I
that.
don't want to have, like,
telling
it's a
them.
big site, so I don't want to have bollards and make it look like a runway, you know, they're all.
Definitely not Bollard, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. So, the other thing about the light, there are some existing fixtures, kind of the downtown fixture that we were gonna just take those out. So,
We are a little concerned, I mean, again, I'm not a lighting expert. The building's already been broken into since we owned it. I've
Okay.
been there 3 times to, just driving by with my wife and had to have people stop doing certain things in the back.
Yeah.
That it is, you're giving us the freedom to be artistic
Yeah.
because of where it is. The problem with it is there's also nocturnal things that can happen now. There's a higher probability of nocturnal things
Mm-hmm.
happening down there. So I'd like to strike a happy medium between, if we could have no lights, that'd be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
But I think there's a safety
Yeah.
issue that I'm trying to balance here.
for sure.
So maybe we just reduce the number.
And can we see the light fixtures in detail next time? Can you give us a page on those?
Okay, there's the details right here, but we can give you, just.
Like a sample, yeah, color sample of the actual, the spec page,
What
okay.
are your hours of operation?
They wouldn't be earlier than 7 a.m. In most markets, we close by 9 p.m.
Okay.
It can be seasonally adjusted,
Again,
not a
sunny
24-hour facility.
February, Saturday, sunny after 3 inches of snow. We'll probably wanna, I mean, the customers will line up, we're not gonna say no, but there's a point at which the team has to go home, probably 8, 8:30. I think 9's probably too late for this market.
I'd like to see you guys propose a second, like a whole new lighting plan. I mean, we've thrown on light from the beginning. I think it needs to be a larger cohesive plan here that talks about the entire property scape along with the building. Like, that's a thought process. If you're gonna do the building, is there lighting on the building? Is it up lighting, is it down lighting? Where is that light hitting the building to accent those features? And then how does that relate to the rest of the site? You're talking about, like, pedestrian walkway. You know, you could put low lights along certain areas, if you've got the low ground coverage up front there, maybe there's low lights within there that are balanced with your security concerns. You've got new trees you're putting in, a birch tree you talked about, highlighting those ones that you could do some uplighting on those trees. I just think I don't have an exact recommendation, but I think it needs to be a larger cohesive plan, specifically designed for just lighting.
Are you thinking like lighting along the path, along the sidewalk, just like in the ground?
Yes, that's ideal. I don't know how that worked, but that's just something to consider as part of an entire.
Could you have motion sensor lighting in the back if people are
The
back
cameras,
there?
there's probably gonna be, what, Steve, 65 cameras on this thing? The issue is the cameras are not, they're not infrared, correct?
They're not infrared. They have low light capability, but infrared is a different animal.
We've seen it all. That's our issue, including in Naples where similar demographics here. And again, we're in a corner where there's a lot of trees back there, and if you drive by tonight, it's pretty dark. So why don't we,
We're asking you to just provide us the
we're
guidance.
hearing we're hearing what you,
Yeah.
let's come up with something.
One question on the lighting, would you be in favor of, if we had, we lit the building with ground lighting that gave it an even wash at night?
That'd be cool.
We didn't think you would love that.
And definitely raise the branches on the front trees.
You'd be in favor of that?
That's what we normally do, we didn't think it was flawed. Can't
Um,
afford that.
Matthew, two other questions. I saw sculptures on one of the renderings. There's a sculpture site. I'm going to ask him to talk about that. And the other one, are those the same trees planted in beds next to each other along the road? The new trees being planted in 1, 2, 3, 4. Are those the same species?
They're oaks, and I alternated them. There's 2 different types of oaks, pin oak and shingle
Okay.
oak.
All right. I might send you a little more feedback on the landscape plan after this. I need to digest it a little bit more.
That's fine.
And the holly, I don't think I'm a fan of. Me personally, I think we've seen that before. I think we've talked about this before. I think we've nixed it. I think we keep trying for it, but we keep nixing
First
it.
time I've been here.
Yeah, I know.
This week.
But to save, like, going into detail, maybe I could pass on some more feedback on that.
That's fine.
That we can discuss and continue dialogue over email to make sure we're in a good place with that. But, okay, sculpture?
I think that's the sculpture.
That-
I think it's
They're a
the-
little round ball
Oh, the
sculptures.
bollards.
are what I'm
bollards.
doing.
Yeah, the bollards that are.
The spheres?
Yes.
You heard you guys did much fun. So the meat, and we're happy to, the purpose of these are for, well, we're going for the lowest common denominator. We've had people drunk go through the exit end despite a big exit sign. So these are purely for safety, not decorative.
I thought they were kind of cool.
They're just
I
better
think
than
they're
poles.
Who said they weren't cool?
Yeah, he didn't like them.
What's
Well,
that?
we heard,
Did
we
you
heard
like
they-
I love
We
them.
heard,
You
yeah.
like
I
them?
love them.
Did you say
Are
that?
they?
Neutral.
I love them.
Just like a big
You're like
piece of
Switzerland.
Same color as the building?
How
So
does
they're
that stop
to
people
prevent-
from going through?
So there's a,
Solid, and your car's gonna smack into it.
Well, no, I
I
got
can
that
answer
part.
What are they, stone, concrete, what are they made of?
I can answer. Okay, all of those are spheres, typically a 30-inch sphere, 820-ish pounds, solid concrete with a
Rebar.
void in the middle, and they go onto a 12-inch sonotube foundation, 24 to 36 inches deep, with a 4-inch steel sleeve that attaches those. So if you hit them,
You feel
you
it.
stop.
So we can never have
So I
the
think
world,
he's
we
talking
can never
about-
have the world's strongest men lift them and move them.
I'm not going to lift them. Yeah. They would be spaced out appropriately, and really it's a safety for the vehicles coming out making a right turn.
They're fixed into the ground, they're not.
Correct, they're not rolling away. If you've been to a Target, you've seen a very similar sphere. And if you tried to push one, you'd be hard pressed to push it.
Oh, so they would go.
Color?
over that.
What's that?
I mean, oh,
Color?
got it, okay. I was-
Color?
Color
Thank
of
you.
the sphere?
We match it to the
It'll
building.
match it to the
The
building.
match-
Match it, yeah, sure.
That's good.
Our whole thing is to make sure that people aren't,
I think it's better looking than a
they've had too many
4-inch.
gummies and floor it and hop over to the other side.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to prevent.
I like them better than the 4-inch steel with a plastic cover on. I just think they look a lot better.
They look sculptural,
They
they're,
are.
they're,
Very
and
cool.
sorry, did somebody ask how are they, I mean, you said concrete, but it's finished a certain way.
They are, so they're cast, and then they're painted to whatever color. There's a concrete dye that goes on them.
I think there's the same ones that are used at Harbor Point, there's a few places that we've used them down there.
Target uses them, but they use a general
They
latex
use
paint.
the red,
Yeah.
yeah.
Keep shaking it. Same color as the building?
Just not red. Yeah, they're neat.
Thank you.
Okay, signage? Do you have that now? You waiting for your time?
Or Brenda, will we be tweaking signage for the building, or you wanna?
So,
I think you should propose.
we'll show you what we have. These are beautiful at night. You can see them on the Instagram page. It's our branding.
So this is the,
Let me show you exactly what they look like.
this is the ground sign that would be located on the west side of the curb.
Out front,
I'm sorry?
out on Post Road.
Out on Post Road, correct, on the west side. So.
Can I go to the website? Can I?
The website, Hervik, if you can pull up one.
If you send me something, a link.
Cloud10smartwash.com.
Well,
You can open up
Brendan's
a Google.
working on that. We do also have just internal directional signage to help, direct folks into the proper plans, which I can show you as well. Here's the wall sign, that's a
So it's called Cloud 10 or called Cloud 10? What was the description?
Cloud 10
Smartwash.
Smartwash.
Cloud 10 Smartwash is the legal name.
Yes.
That's the
You could just
actual
type it into your
smart
URL.
wash.
So there you go.
This is a little, we did,
Well, nice and make my record, you can't see the letter. Can barely see the letter.
there.
Okay.
So
I
you'll,
found theirs.
It's gonna go back now.
And stuff, okay.
so this is one we just finished 4 months ago. That's the sign. Now that is enormous, that's 30 feet high.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah,
gonna fly.
not gonna be.
That's what it looks
Can I
like.
be redeemed about
I don't know how to do
technological
that.
advances?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we know you don't want the colored lights on the backs, that's not gonna happen.
Oh, it looks so good.
Don't push it.
Well, we can
No,
change
no.
them, we can have fun here, for breast cancer month, it's pink, but that's the sign.
Yes, that's what we do.
You like that?
So you first gotta design the building, then you make the lighting match the new
We're
building.
not making political statements with our lighting in town. Let's
We
just
don't.
avoid that.
We don't.
So we can rethink the sign to be more in keeping with what Bruce is putting
Yes.
together with the building.
Well, that's kind of what I was wondering, because even the sign displayed on your renderings, it seems you got this gorgeous building potentially, and the sign, it almost feels like it's taking away from having the sculptural element, having the signage on the building. And I understand why you would, but I don't know if you, yeah.
You put the signature of the artist in the sculpture, you don't put a sign.
Yeah, yeah, Beinfeld should sign his name on there.
Bruce is gonna sign it in the bottom right corner.
That's right.
With the slant.
So, do you want something like I would see if I'm making this up? You go to the Hamptons and it's some fancy restaurant tucked off the road and it's steel with like uplit white, something like that? Okay, I
Yeah.
know what they want.
Yeah.
I want
So-
sophisticated, that's all we want.
So if I could just speak to one detail really quickly. If you see along the parapet, the detail there, the horizontal illumination and LED, not the curved ones, but the along the building. So that is a 1-inch LED dimmable, well, we were talking about the panels, so that's why I was wondering. Okay.
They're not gonna do
Nope.
it. But you have to look.
So no illumination of the panel.
Nope, no,
Okay. I was just
Hey, you got the
clarifying.
building, don't push it.
But if you were in Miami, I would say go for it. That would be
Or
great.
Las
By the way, I'm okay with that, I was just asking the question.
That's a good
Because
question.
we were talking about the panel before.
Right, well,
and
that's, so I think there's a way, and I'm just imagining, that it can be a lot softer. I think what you were showing is, it's pretty intense, and I think maybe there's a way to strike a balance where it's a softer glow that looks, that makes the building look like.
That's 100 to 0.
Yes.
The
Right?
dimmable capability.
So I
We know
think
that
that-
our building that we're
extension of
building in
it.
Mechanicsburg, if I had the renderings, I'd show you, it's got pretty cool, very low voltage, very low light, indirect lighting.
Yeah, I
It would work really well.
I think there's a way to get there, but it's not that.
I think we're saying that the sign should be an
That's a
extension
jazz hand.
of the sculpture.
That's
Extensions of- and of the quality of materials
Okay.
in the same
Right.
vein, whatever you're
Co-
using.
Make it
The loop.
cohesive with the,
Yes.
yeah, that's, got it, got it.
Okay. And so you're allowed, you know what you're allowed, right? You have wall sign, you do monumental sign.
Yeah.
All right.
Right, yeah, yeah. I think we were either right at or a little under on.
You don't.
Right, Herb,
Yeah. I'm working on it.
because
To keep things moving, you might want to consider presenting the building and doing signage separately, like we did with like Bearbird, right? That's up to you guys, we can do it all at once, but we could also, if you guys want to get, I know it takes time to
Yeah.
order materials and I know, so.
Are you objecting to the signage on the building?
I thought that felt like an afterthought when you put in this building, you put in this gorgeous building, you're gonna put these horizontal lines, we
Yeah.
talked about the
I mean, you have an opportunity to actually blend it into the skin somehow. To your point when you were describing sort
Design.
of that low lit steel cutout sign, maybe that's a monument sign when you're coming in, but on the building, maybe it's just integrated into the architecture somehow, and not a pasted on kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bruce,
It would be
that's-
the same
Well,
integrated.
again,
So that's the
this
word.
isn't gonna work here because you're changing the angle of the side slit.
Right.
Let them
Right.
figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
That's Bruce's job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why we hired Bruce.
yeah. I'll come up with something smart.
Bruce is extremely talented, it's good to always see you, Bruce. Always nice.
My question was, how far back and how big can they go? Because this building is set so far back now. They get different parameters for the signs, don't they?
How far forward, how far?
So
How
they're,
big the
they're,
sign
they're.
is?
Should they go or?
No, the building is set back on the property.
Yeah.
So the question then becomes is, we had this discussion way back when in the signage, but don't they get a little bit larger sign because of how the depth of where they're sitting back?
I thought.
I think it's just the automotive zone, so it's a large, you get the largest signage in
Right.
town.
We get up to 48 square feet, I think, on the.
Yeah, and I think the
facade.
height is you get up
Yeah.
almost to 2 feet,
I don't
which
have
is
it with
huge.
me.
That's
Yes.
what I
I
was
think you get up,
thinking.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's a 48
Instead
square
of
foot
33, it's
signature
48,
of Bruce's.
something like that.
yeah. I think it's more than the 18 inches we just
Yes.
approved for Bearbird, it might be 2
Yeah,
feet.
it's the 26 height and
Yeah.
and then the
Which
48
We
total.
usually push back on, but to your point, since it's so far back, it will probably,
It makes
be
sense to
nice,
have that height.
yeah.
And that's what we were considering, that 26 height, so.
but the word integrated was very well said by Alex, integrated into the skin
Yeah,
And
for
to
the
the
wall
property.
sign.
yeah,
Plus the monument
challenge.
sign, the monument sign would be.
yeah, have that.
That's the problem.
Guys, this was a great presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, great
Yeah,
feedback.
this was great.
Yeah, this is, we're
Back and
excited.
forth, yeah.
We're
Yeah,
very excited
yeah,
by your
really.
I'm
feedback.
excited to see more.
So
I
what-
know.
That's why all my friends, they've seen it and they're like, I got yelled at by my friend's wife yesterday. She's like, well, whatever. She said, when are we gonna put one here? And I said, well, we kept it quiet for a while. So she will be there November 14th.
It'll,
Oh, that's great.
it'll impress you.
When
So-
can we be back? You guys?
So you guys think you'll be back in November?
We had talked with Jeremy about potentially having our P and Z hearing on the
Smart.
14th
Yeah.
of November. I don't know when your schedule's not in my head.
I
but
think you'll wanna go
there is-
through P and Z and find out what limitations you guys have there before coming to us and doing all this work and then going to them and finding out.
Because the next ARV is November 14th, the same
Oh.
day.
Is it really?
Is it?
Actually, cause we
It
moved it up
happens
because the
once in a
holiday.
while, yeah.
It's November 14th.
We
just
have
thinks-
time, we've gotta deal with the DOT. I'd
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
take time on the.
Yeah.
November
architectural.
14th or December 19th?
Can we come back here on the, I mean, we can talk with Jeremy and Hermé too afterwards.
You,
Go
If you
one
if
to
you'll
the
have
other.
us on the 14th.
Well, they've done this before, where you have a discussion, you first at P and Z, and then you come here at the end, but it's
You
not
will be
not
ready by
easy
then?
to time.
Yeah, we can,
No, Bruce is saying we'll be ready.
we can be ready for the 14th.
Okay, that's great, that's our next meeting. It's short, yeah, it's short.
So we can schedule it against what their time is in P and Z, whether they go early at P and Z, fine, and come later to us.
What
or
is
go
the
later.
topic at P and Z? Is it something different?
Special, it's, yeah, so it's a special permit, so it'll be a
It
public
wouldn't
hearing.
have anything to do with the sculptural aspect of the skin or any of that. It's the building location will remain the same from what we hear tonight.
I
It's
think-
not gonna be,
Yeah, I think the folks at P and Z defer to the experts on architecture, but I'm sure they'll have, their
and
own
then
opinions
folks
as
here,
well.
I'm sure for
But
the
that is a
traffic.
good question. You're not like debating with P and Z the location of the building. Will that
Right.
change the traffic pattern of it?
Right.
The amount of vacuums you get to put, are any of that stuff in question?
No.
No, I mean, I think what
Not
probably
currently.
makes sense is to come here on the 14th, and I can talk to Jeremy, I'll call Jeremy tomorrow and make sure, just figure out
Okay. that'll be
what,
great.
yeah, that'll be our problem tonight.
So I'll get you all this feedback and we'll put it
Thank
in the
you.
viewpoint system. I
Perfect.
know you were
Dan's
taking
been
notes.
taking notes. Yeah.
So we'll make sure that our, and Hervé will help me too, we'll make sure we get all in there, but let's feel free to keep the communication open to make sure I don't want you guys to feel like it's a solid community, we can only.
No, we
have
want
everyone-
feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're part of our customer base. We want everybody to love this place, so.
Okay, that's great, it's
Can I
really
ask a
exciting.
question? I'm a brand guy over here, and I was a huge proponent of the more sculptural, and when we headed towards the more square, I got a bit sad about it. And then the one point I wanted to make, which I think is an important one, and it's one of the ways I actually became slightly okay with the boring one, was that, and I don't know, maybe you didn't hear enough of it today, but what we're doing is a scientific achievement. It's science. It's not decorated, it's not cosmetic, it's not, doesn't have veneer on it. So the vacuums, I loved what you were saying earlier about being able to see something that's going on. There was a little bit of Pompidou in the beginning of this, the Genesis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that kids, I mean, car washes have always been like,
Oh, yeah.
wow. So how do you reinvent wow in 2023 when every kid is just staring at his phone, right? And grown-ups too. So the science aspect is really, really important. I would love to, maybe for you guys to talk a little bit more about that, and Bruce, whether you think that's an opportunity to see more of that, especially if we can't have the lighting.
Well, that's why I said I'd love to see some transparency into the building. However you guys figure it out, and you can operate it and maintain it. But I think that, and not make it cheesy, right?
Right.
Still make it a beautiful sculptural building. And I do think it needs a little bit of relief because it's a big block.
Yeah.
So I think angling it is gonna
Yeah.
help it a little bit, but create that intersection between your customers, the street, people who are driving by, and make it alive, make the building alive.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Pompidou is,
But that's the point though, I love it,
Interesting
we'd all love it to feel like this is a brilliant piece of science
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
also beautiful,
Yeah, yeah.
so it's not decorated. and-
yeah, yeah. I think we're
So
all,
the-
I think we're all aligned
The
on
shapey
that.
thing, and I was a big proponent of the perforation one, which went nowhere.
I love it too. It's
But-
all-
but- But ultimately, it's
sleep.
like, we have designed the next step of a Swiss watch. Everything from how we're laying it out, so there's, not getting too fussy and not getting too decorated is legit, you know what I mean?
I think we're aligned on that.
Yeah.
We're just asking
Yeah.
to give the building a little relief.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's great
Well
feedback.
said. Thank you
Very-
for adding that.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Thanks to creative.
I love the fact that we're back to the one that we all like the best. It's awesome.
Well, we really want kids to be dying to go back in there, because I mean, the whole thing should be neat, and inside, Steve didn't talk about it, but it's all really cool, like Mission Impossible, experience, not goofy cheesy.
It is pretty cool. Your car goes in an infrared box, so your car will be in an infrared box, your car will be here, you're all in the line. You get out of that box, the whole thing shuts down. All computerized. It's
Then
same
it'll measure-
cameras, your Easy Pass. You go through, bang, gate, it syncs up, who came first. It reads your Easy Pass, says you're a member, okay, you got this particular watch. you go next, then the next gate comes up, and you're in and out in 4 minutes.
And it actually measures the dimensions of your
Yeah.
car and adjusts the equipment
Height, width.
inside.
That's awesome.
Like, if you've got a ski rack on your car or something like that, we can program it that for the next 6 months, we know that you've got a ski rack and not to turn certain things on and off.
So cool.
Very
We're sold. You don't need to keep selling us. We're in.
No,
We're
we're
part of the program.
We're sign up for your membership at.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's why I was like, this is the
Hi,
In a- in a-
Hervé. You're on the phone.
Thank you guys for the fantastic feedback. I moved up here from Texas.
I'm gonna have to come around the other way.
So,
Great, because you're in the.
so I'm his second largest investor. And we got an offer, a buyout offer at the beginning of last year. And he asked me to come up here and help him organize a data room. And we were in our third week of due diligence with the private equity firm. And I looked at him on a Saturday afternoon, we were sitting in his office, and I said, why don't we sell? I said, we don't need the money.
Oh, cool.
I said, why don't I just move up here and I'll take half of everything off of your desk and put it on my desk, give you a better quality of life. So I handle all the finance, legal, insurance stuff.
He run that thing, he's the most overqualified car CFO. He's retired Fortune 200 CFO.
So I love dairy. Love this.
And where'd you come from in Texas?
I grew up in Oklahoma, I spent 48 years in Oklahoma, and then the last 6 in Fort Worth, Texas, all in the energy industry. And
I did a lot of
then,
work for the
There's a
Choctaw.
big difference between Dallas.
oh yeah?
I'm an architect, I designed a lot of their casinos,
Okay.
many years.
All right,
Yeah.
there's a lot of them. I'll tell you,
Oh, I know.
I-35 is like every 10 miles.
That's not something.
Next to
you
the
want to see on
truck
that.
stop.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
So,
problem.
no, but I love it here.
It's taking the
It's
windows
just-
out of all my doors.
Well, you can't get over the weather.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I was going back to
Yeah, great
Texas.
summer.
Whole new
I was going back to
experience.
Texas to help my brother's
I get what you're
company
saying.
with
I'm gonna
their
come up with
insurance.
something.
He's got an
That's
energy. He
why I
works
do
for
this.
a company
Yeah,
too.
it would be a fun way to.
And I went back for a
Right, thank you.
preliminary meeting on
Maybe the
August
sections
4th.
that have
It was 110
Yeah, it was so hot.
there.
It's a
It
shame.
was 75 here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
office? So,
That's
but,
fantastic.
yeah, Jeff Agost.
Jeff Johnson.
So nice to meet you all. Very much.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to seeing
We are so happy with the
Yeah.
feedback.
Sorry to keep you guys
We
late.
wanted to have fun with this, and I'm like, they're never
Oh,
going
yeah,
to.
okay.
Wow. What reputation we have, Mr. Good fun.
You guys are
It's not,
cool.
you know, it's not
You
you
guys
guys,
are
it's,
cool.
you know, everything's conservative around here.
All I can tell you is, you know,
Just depends on what side of
when
town
you
you're
see it, you're gonna be like, oh my God,
Okay, I'm so
this
excited.
isn't crazy.
Hervé, do you have that calendar pass out to us?
What?
The calendar?
Let's.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much. Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it.
It's gonna be terrific.
Y'all need a hand?
A quick final discussion, we just have to approve
Very heavy
the,
on the phone, right?
the calendar for the year.
This is bulky.
Hey,
We are still
is
on.
this the day after Martin Luther King Day?
January 16th, what I looked
Are
at,
people,
let me check
are
that.
people gonna be skiing?
January 16th, let me look at that.
January 16th.
You're right.
That's the first meeting of the year? Oh, you know what?
Okay, you wanna put down the 23rd?
No,
There it is.
I'm asking, to me, it's,
Isn't that a long?
it's a long
Yeah,
weekend.
Monday's a long weekend, but people will be,
Wait, is it, but is that the weekend?
Oh, because it's Martin Luther King. But that, Monday, so people will be back Monday night.
Wait a minute, is Martin Luther King the 22nd or is it the 15th?
No.
no,
it's
it's
the
the 15th. It is the 15th. I think we've always kept it there, that we come back, we held it. Yeah, I think we kept it there, unless that's a problem for you guys, we can move it back. There are,
I was just bringing.
January is actually the 1 month that does, has 5 Tuesdays. So we could potentially move to the 23rd if we're all worried.
No, it doesn't affect me.
Okay.
I just brought it up to make sure we were checking the
glad you
3-day
did.
weekend, that's all.
Yeah, right, no, that's a good point.
Okay. So the week after the Valentine's week, what I said Valentine's, but the 13th we moved up because that is no school week following that.
A week after it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we usually would meet on February 20th, or
Right.
maybe the 13th because of
Okay.
school break.
That's good.
Mhm.
So when will we leave January the 16th then?
Okay. Okay.
March 19th, is that spring break for anybody? Other than my
Oh my
daughter?
God, those days are over.
My,
Do you have spring break that week?
probably, but it doesn't matter, because I
Okay.
only have one.
And then April got moved back because of spring break as well.
When is Easter?
It's Easter this year, next year.
Shows Easter
Is it
on,
end of
The rest of it looks fine.
Passover's the 22nd.
17th, December 17th is moved forward, because it looks normal.
December 17th.
Oh, it's Easter is the 31st of March.
Oh. Okay.
December
Okay.
7th.
That
Yeah,
works.
that
I think
does-
this looks good.
That's fine.
Okay, so,
We need to be back.
okay, so all in favor?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. John, yes.
Hmm.
All in favor?
Oh, okay.
Yes. Okay. All right, that's unanimous approval. I will sign that. I'm borrowing your pen. And,
Minutes?
we don't have minutes to approve. We're gonna push them off to next. We've got
Yeah, because somebody couldn't do them.
September minutes. We're gonna approve September minutes in November. And, we're gonna talk about the review process for alternate applications in, November. I'm gonna adjourn the meeting. It's 9:32 p.m.
Okay.
So all in favor of adjourn?
Adjourned.
All right, we're done.
What time did we start? I didn't write that down.
7 o'clock precisely.
Right.
Okay, we're done.